ONE Newsradio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3 KMAS Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are hoping their big wins in the New Hampshire primary will give them critical momentum heading into South Carolina. ABC's Aaron Katersky tells us Sanders calls his landslide victory over Hillary Clinton a win for the 99%.
Bernie Sanders credited the energy of his supporters for his blowout win.
People of New Hampshire have sent a profound message.
That message may have been a rejection of the candidate who touted competence and experience. But Hillary Clinton made clear she has plenty of fight left.
We're going to fight for every vote in every state.
Clinton conceded she has work to do, particularly in appealing to young voters and overcoming weakness on honesty and empathy. Aaron Katersky, ABC News, Manchester.
Ohio Governor John Kasich says there's magic in the air after his surprisingly strong second-place finish, and he credits his positive message.
The light really did overcome the darkness. I had so many millions of ads run against me, and yet we come out of there in a strong second. And it's pretty remarkable.
Ferguson, Missouri is closer to satisfying Justice Department demands for changes stemming from the shooting of an unarmed teen. We get the latest from ABC's Jim Ryan.
After the killing of 18-year-old Michael Brown, federal investigators launched a probe of the St. Louis suburb, finding deep disparities in the way that blacks and whites were handled by police and the courts. The city has agreed to most parts of a Justice Department consent decree meant to address those issues, but has asked for changes to soften the economic impact.
The Anthem of the Seas docks in New Jersey tonight, where the captain is likely to face questions about why he didn't steer clear of the storm. He claims it exploded from nothing into a monster. Royal Caribbean says the ship is designed to withstand even rougher seas. Women's soccer star Hope Solo says if she had to decide today, she'd sit out the Brazil Olympic Games because of concerns about Zika. The trailer for Full House is out. In it, Uncle Jesse tells the others, I have to say, we're all looking good. This is ABC News.
ABC Radio presents Made in America with David Muir, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts.
It's the blue and yellow can, a household staple made right here in America. WD-40. Everybody has a can in their house. Orlando Moreno at WD-40 headquarters in San Diego. The secret formula, nearly the same since it was invented more than 60 years ago.
It's a special thing.
CEO Gary Ridge, business doubling in the last 10 years, now sold around the country and around the world in 176 countries. This is World News Tonight's David Muir. That's Made in America.
Advance Auto Parts knows what makes a car guy a car guy. It's working through the unexpected surprises that spring up with every project. It's character, and it isn't rattled by a little thing like a dead battery, especially when you can get a new one online at advanceautoparts.com and pick it up in store just 30 minutes later. We'll even install it for free, so you can get back to fixing faster. Advance Auto Parts, for guys who love getting under the hood.
Most vehicles, most locations. See store for details.
Don't forget to buy something sweet for your sweetheart this Sunday. It's Valentine's Day. Meanwhile, ABC's Dave Schreiber tells us those without sweethearts are being offered free therapy.
Breakups are usually rough, especially this time of year on Valentine's Day, when we are supposed to be with our sweethearts and do something nice and maybe even romantic. Some Florida branches of Goodwill want to give the brokenhearted a chance for a fresh start. They suggest that newly single people get rid of memories of a failed relationship by donating their ex's belongings. Goodwill suggests people turn the hate into donate. This year, Goodwill of Southern Nevada in Las Vegas is hosting a campaign to donate your ex's stuff. Dave Schreiber, ABC News.
2 new shows will be coming soon to Broadway, Frozen and To Kill a Mockingbird. Rachel Platten says her fight song was an empowerment anthem she wrote to give herself a boost during a tough time in her career. Fans also see her Stand By Me as an anthem, but she says she doesn't intentionally write message songs. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. Motorists can legally drive faster on part of Highland Road, but must now slow down on a North Bay Road section near an Allen marijuana shop and homes. The county commissioners yesterday approved speed limit changes that extends the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit on North Bay Road from East State Route 3 for about a third of a mile. Commissioners Terry Jeffries and Randy Netherland also approved the change, which allows motorists on North Bay Road to drive up to 50 miles per hour for about a mile, then slow down to 40 miles per hour for another mile after that. Tim Sheldon was absent attending legislative matters in Olympia. The speed increase from 35 to 45 miles per hour applies to the section of West Highland Road from West Cloqualum Road to near West Panhandle Lake Road. Loretta Swanson, Mason County Public Works Technical Services Manager, said the speed limit recommendations were based on public works study and data collection work performed by Public Works and staff and traffic engineer Dave Smith. The staff recommendation to increase the speed limit on the Highland was based on a traffic and engineering study. The Natural Resource Conservation Service says Washington's winter snowpack so far this season is 109% of normal. As of February 1st, the highest above average figure was 146% in the Okanagan River Basin in north central Washington. The most recent National Weather Service 3-month outlook is for above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. However, short-term forecasts call for continued snow in the mountains and rain in the valleys. State Department of Corrections Secretary Dan Pacholke, who resigned over the weekend, says he may stay on the job temporarily. He reportedly told members of Governor Jay Inslee's staff that he's willing to stay on while Inslee determines how a successor will be chosen. Senate Republicans plan to present initial findings today relating to their investigation of the early release of thousands of prisoners due to a computer problem. When it comes to renewable energy, Carl Dennison from Mason County Public Utility District 1 told Daybreak that there has been such a good response to the idea of a solar array that they will now likely have to move to a lottery system to award spots. The solar array will help ratepayers offset costs with the renewable resource. Dennison also talked about the possibility of an electric car charging station.
We're working on a electric charging station in Pittsburgh, so folks driving 101 can maybe make the loop all the way around. So we're working with the port up there, and hopefully that project will come to fruition and we'll get that up and rolling soon.
Learn more about the solar projects on the Daybreak page at iFIBER1newsradio.com. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
The Tom Hartman Show, live 9 to noon, weekdays on iFIBER One News Radio.
This is not an election cycle where middle-of-the-road Democrats are going to stir up enough of the base and enough excitement and enthusiasm that they're going to seriously win elections. And that's the thing that Republicans have figured out and Democrats have yet to learn, which is that elections are not about swaying so-called undecided voters. They're about stirring up the base. The base will bring the undecided voters along with them. They'll do it through social media. They'll do it through talking to their neighbors. They'll do it by talking to people in the workplace. But you've got to energize the base.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
Roger that.
Get charged up with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Now in 4 energizing new flavors like Midnight Grape. It all starts with a kick.
For iFIBER One News Radio. Here's a look at sports. Relief pitcher Joel Peralta has agreed to a minor league contract with the Mariners and will report to big league spring training. 39-year-old right-hander has spent parts of 11 seasons in the majors with 6 clubs. Peralta 3-1, 4.34 ERA in 33 games with the LA Dodgers last season. A couple of stints on the DL with shoulder and neck injuries. The Washington Huskies are having renewed success this season and sit in 4th place in the Pac-12 despite having 40 players foul out in 23 games. That's the most in the country and not even by a small margin. Next closest, Northern Colorado with 23, so almost doubling up on that. We'll have more information on this throughout the morning, but the U.S. women's national soccer team concerned about the developing Zika virus crisis in Latin America. The 2016 Olympics are scheduled for August 5 through 21 in Brazil, and the Zika virus is spreading rapidly down there. The Americans ranked number 1 in the world and are vying for one of the 2 Olympic team berths for North and Central America and the Caribbean region. Looking again at some of these conferences that we've been talking about on the air the last couple of weeks, they have come up with the name for the South. There was a Pierce County conference, and then they had they couldn't call it a Thurston County conference because it had other schools like Shelton in there. So now they're going to call it the South Sound Conference, and it will debut this fall. One of the 2 new Class 3A leagues in the West Central District. These schools in the South Sound Conference include Capital, Central Kitsap, Gig Harbor, North Thurston, Peninsula, Shelton, Timberline, and Yelm. River Ridge now in the new 16-team 2A SPSL. It's 6:10 at iFIBER One News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3.
Good morning. It's 41, mostly cloudy. It's going to be rain today, rain tomorrow, rain Friday. And right now it's 41.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor, your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Well, good morning to you. It is 6:11 at iFIBER One News Radio. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Good morning to you. We got a great show for you today with 35th District Representative Drew McEwen at 7:15. Port of call at 8:45. Last night there was a big meeting at the Civic Center for the Department of Ecology and the C Street landfill cleanup. We'll have some information on that. Votes tallied yesterday in some tax measures around the state, and there's been a data breach in Olympia. Also, today is Ash Wednesday. So, good morning to everyone. We'll take a break here in a few moments to hear from Westwood One's NFL Now segment on this Wednesday morning. Some of the quick school election results that were happening yesterday, mostly, again, as I mentioned, some taxing things, levies and whatnot. Merriam Night School, the maintenance and operation levy there is passing. It is a multi-county result, but it is passing throughout the counties that it services. In Fire District 18, emergency medical services regular property levy, that is passing. The McCleary School 65 Prop 1 is passing. The only one that I believe did not pass during the overnight was in Yelm. We'll have more of those stories for you coming up in just a few moments here on Daybreak. It's 6:13.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
I'm Ari Wolf with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Tuesday was parade day in the Mile High City. 1 million fans, according to an estimate from the city's mayor, cheered on the Super Bowl champions after the Broncos defeated the Panthers 24-10 on Sunday. It was the 3rd Super Bowl title for Denver, and Tuesday, the Panthers cleared out their lockers, and it was the first time we've heard from Cam Newton since he left the podium abruptly after Carolina's loss to the Broncos. Cam spoke for 6 minutes as he cleared out his locker. Here's a bit of what he had to say.
I've been on record to say I'm a sore loser. Who likes to lose? You show me a good loser, and I'm going to show you a loser.
In other news around the National Football League, the Titans released safety Michael Griffin, who played 9 seasons for the team. The Raiders have parted ways with safety Nate Allen, and the Colts waived quarterback Ryan Lindley. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Control, this is QL1. Side hatch is secure.
QL1, this is Control. We copy, showing normal cabin pressure. Over.
Control, this is QL1. Do you like mortgages?
That's a negative, QL1. Over.
Control, do you like rockets?
That's affirmative, QL1. Over.
Do you like
messages? I'm listening. Over. Of course you are, Control. Everyone likes rockets. Control, Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans is the first on-demand mortgage machine that turns the entire mortgage process into a fast, powerful, completely online experience. Copy that, QL1. I'm going to go ahead and push this button in 3, 2, 1. Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button, get mortgage.
Rocket.
Visit for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Good morning to you. 6:16 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio. I'm Jeff Flakey along with Carol Gardner, looking at some of the news from around the Northwest. Again, the McCleary Schools levy passes, Elma's pass, North Mason passes, Hood Canal pass. Again, I think it was just if I look around the counties, it says in the newspaper this morning that the second time in less than a year, about $60 million construction bond for Yelm Community Schools was failing. It was about 52%, but these need those 60% thresholds. And Andy Wolf, the superintendent of Yelm, said last night that it was disappointing. So that is happening there. We'll continue to update you. I don't think there's going to be any real more. Next ballot count will be today at 4 o'clock, and we'll have more results for you there. Good morning, Carol. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
What's going on? And have your microphone up. You were doing some other stuff. What's going on? Not much. It looked like a big meeting at the Civic Center last night. Jeff Chu was there and reports on the ecology officials who were there to talk about the C Street landfill. Looks like it could take more than 2 years before a cleanup on the C Street land site landfill begins. A large group of people, 60 or so, were there last night, an ecology-led informational meeting on the proposed land cleanup. We'll have more information shortly. Carol, you have something from Landstrom there, was talking about some ways that it could take. I'm sorry, go
Okay, so he said it could take more than 2 years before a cleanup of the C Street landfill site even begins because they are doing data gathering. And they don't know if it's gone outside of just the area of the C Street landfill or not. So that's what they're looking at. They said it could take 2 years. They said the cleanup is the easy part. It's the data gathering that is the hard part.
A lot of community comments, it looks like. And, you know, the first time this showed up was in '86 when the EPA did a study there confirming the presence of dioxins. So they've known about these struggles for a while now. And some of the people have been saying, let's see, one of the folks there, Will Durham, said, we don't know what the timeline was before they took 15 years and did nothing. So I have great concern that multiple events can extend the process. Again, we are monitoring that here in the morning. And good morning to you. Jeff Chu has the story on iFiber1newsradio.com. 6:18 here at iFIBER ONE, and state officials say a data breach has affected 91,000 Washington Medicaid clients. 2 state employees have been fired for improperly handing personal information of people enrolled in Washington Apple Health. The information includes social security numbers, dates of birth, Apple Health client IDs, and private health information, according to the Washington Healthcare Authority. One employee improperly forwarded a spreadsheet containing that information while looking for technical help from another worker. The breach discovered during a whistleblower investigation into misuse of state resources. The authority's risk manager, Steve Dotson, says they don't believe the client files went beyond these 2 individuals, but privacy laws were violated, and state employees have notified the people affected by the data breach and offered them a year of free credit monitoring. King County is going to spend $17 million for initiatives aimed at curbing homelessness, with special attention to the South and East King County, where the numbers of unsheltered people have been on the rise. They have declared it a state of emergency in the county this past November and have now been looking for state and federal funds.
Attorneys for a Richland flower shop owner who lost a lawsuit over her refusal to provide services for a same-sex wedding have filed a brief with the state Supreme Court. The Tri-City Herald reports the brief addresses some of the arguments made by the state and the American Civil Liberties Union in the case. Lawyers for Barronville Stutzman have asked the state Supreme Court to review her case. A decision is expected soon. Stutzman owns Arlene's Flowers in Richmond and says her religious beliefs prevent her from providing flowers for a same-sex wedding. A Benton County judge ruled last year that she broke the law when she told a longtime customer that she couldn't provide services for his same-sex wedding because of her religious beliefs. The case drew nationwide attention. Snohomish County has reached a $1 million settlement to end a lawsuit that claims a Darrington man died as a result of the disposal of tear gas canisters used by the sheriff's deputy for training. The Daily Herald reports that 67-year-old Michael Vincent died about 3 weeks after some tear gas canisters that had been put in a dumpster exploded in 2011 when a garbage truck emptied the bin and compacted the trash. Authorities said 18 other people fell ill but were treated and released from hospitals that day. Vincent's widow, Michelle Vincent, filed a lawsuit in Skagit County Superior Court in 2013. County leaders finalized the settlement last week, and as part of the settlement, the county does not admit any fault, but the sheriff's office has adopted a new policy for disposing of tear gas canisters.
When we come back, we'll talk about some smelt that happened. The fishing season was only a day long, but there was a lot of violations that were netted. And a lot of toll money on the 405. That'll coming up here on Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
It's the day to celebrate love. Yes, Valentine's Day. Lucky Eagle Casino encourages you to follow your heart and be sure to wish that someone special a happy Valentine's Day. A message that comes from the heart and Lucky Eagle Casino.
A Valentine's poem from Whitney Chevrolet. A friend like you happens once in a blue moon. I wonder what was there that brought us so close so soon. Happy Valentine's Day to you from Whitney's Chevrolet.
I feel right at home on JohnLScott.com.
Hi, this is Dawn Pinnell from John L. Scott Real Estate here in Shelton. For a while now, I have been saying welcome home and sharing with you some great listings and some hopefully educational and interesting items of riveting radio real estate topics. We're moving our time slot to Friday at 8:55, right at the end of the morning show. I hope you will continue to listen and that you will contact me with any of your real estate needs. I would love to help you say, I'm home.
Habitat for Humanity of Mason County invites you to shop their local retail stores in Belfair and in Shelton. At Habitat for Humanity stores, you'll find amazing bargains on discounted home improvement supplies, gently used furniture, and so much more. And when you shop Habitat for Humanity, your dollars are put to work helping to improve, build, and maintain affordable housing right here in Mason County. Habitat for Humanity. Let's build a strong community together.
Alex Jones and InfoWars. Weeknights 6 to 9 on iFIBER One News Radio.
And with Google Analytics and with Facebook behind it, they all met the same place Bilderberg met a few years ago. They met there a few years before that. They're north of London. This has all been publicly released and funded the Arab Spring, where they get the students, everybody out the street. But then the radicals use that once they take over to coup d'etat the coup. And then now you have an Islamic State over Libya, over Saudi Arabia, which is already quarterbacking it, over Syria, over Egypt.
Are you a do-it-yourselfer or a direct-it-yourselfer?
Every weekend, people tell us about overspending on projects they could have handled themselves for lots less money.
And we hear from people who ended up overspending because they tried to do something they should have called in a pro to tackle.
Well, we'll help you sort it out. I'm Tom Kreitler.
And I'm Leslie Segretti. Got a remodeling or a repair project?
We can help you decide whether to do it yourself or direct it yourself this weekend on the Money Fit Home Improvement Radio Show. Saturdays at 10, Sundays at 7 on iFIBER One News Radio.
Hi, this is Terry Allen with a look at the community calendar on iFIBER One News Radio. Nonprofits post your events on iFIBER1newsradio.com. The Mason County Senior Center is taking a van to Tumwater's Schmidt Mansion to hear author and columnist Dorothy Wilhelm tell humorous stories about South Puget Sound communities on Thursday the 18th. Afterwards, the group will go to Pellegrino's Italian Kitchen for lunch. The cost is $10 for members, $15 for non-members, and covers transportation and the presentation. Call the Senior Center for details. For iFIBER One News Radio, I'm Terry Allen.
From the iFIBER One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
.625 at iFIBER One News Radio. Good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slinky along with Carol Gardner. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Another beautiful day yesterday. Looks like it's kind of turning a bit today.
Rain the rest of the week, but we're still going to have highs in about the mid-50s.
Okay, so it'll feel nice, but be a little wet. Though this year's smelt fishing season was only a day long, we got more than 160 violations. The Longview Daily News reports that smelt season opened and closed this past Saturday, and during the day, 68 people were cited for exceeding the legal catch limit. The Department of Fish and Wildlife also issued 94 warnings, many for dippers who started before that 7 a.m. start time. Minor infractions can cost $150 or more. Larger offenses mandate a court appearance. Smelt have been listed as a threatened species under the Federal Endangered Species Act since 2010. This year's smelt season was limited to 1 day, but Fish and Wildlife officials say they may extend it to a second day if the run size appears to be large enough.
In the 3 months that Interstate 405 express toll lanes have been open, the state has collected more than triple the money expected. The Seattle Times reports that between September 27th grand opening and the end of 2015, toll payers spend $3.7 million compared to the $1 million predicted.
Whoa.
In the corridor between Linwood and Bellevue. That's all it is. The added money is expected to speed up the state's plans to help expand congested areas of the highway, and state law required proceeds from the tolls to be reinvested in the I-405. The toll lanes allow drivers to pay a premium to get off crowded roads and enter the bus carpool lane. Tolls vary based on congestion. State data shows about 17% of peak time toll payers spend more than $4.
Is that per way, you think? Like one way from we'll say Linwood to Bellevue is $4 or more than that? Holy moly.
Well, I don't know. If you get that to-go card, maybe you get a
discount or something.
Get the round trip.
So they thought they were only going to get $1 million for this, and they ended up getting near 4?
Yeah.
How did they not see the studies? I mean, don't they know that how many cars are on the road at that time?
Well, maybe because people didn't want to pay. And they said they weren't going to pay.
Oh, and now they're being forced to pay. And so now we see that it's $4 million. Plus, there's a lot more people around, apparently.
Apparently. Yep. Seattle has cracked the top 10 most densely populated big cities in the United States for the first time in its history. So, there's a lot more people driving around. The Seattle Times, again, reports that according to census data, Seattle has had almost 8,000 people per square mile in 2014, jumping past Baltimore in terms of density and giving it the number 10 spot. The jump comes at a 10% increase in population density since the 2010 census. If current growth continues, Seattle's on pace to bypass number 9 Los Angeles. Wow. In 5 years. The analyst comes as people are fighting Mayor Ed Murray's Housing Affordability and Livability Advisory Committee's recommendation to increase density in areas zoned for single-family homes. The number 1 densest city in the U.S. is New York, followed by San Francisco, Boston, and Miami.
Huh.
I can't believe we'd be bigger than L.A. That's pretty crazy.
That is amazing, because isn't L.A. its own county, like L.A. County? And when you fly into L.A., it is sprawling. So wait a second. New York City, San Francisco, Boston, and Miami aren't all of those, well, maybe not Boston, but 3 of those 4 are on either peninsulas or islands. I mean, New York is on Manhattan, so they're not going to be able to expand. Miami is right up against the water, and, you know, San Francisco is on a peninsula as well. Man, that's pretty amazing. Seattle. Little Seattle growing up.
Growing something.
6:30 here, iFiber One News Radio.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. Motorists can legally drive faster on part of Highland Road, but must now slow down on a North Bay Road section near an Allen marijuana shop and homes. The county commissioners yesterday approved speed limit changes that extends the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit on North Bay Road from East State Route 3 for about a third of a mile. Commissioners Terry Jeffries and Randy Netherland also approved the change, which allows motorists on North Bay Road to drive up to 50 miles per hour for about a mile, then slow down to 40 miles per hour for another mile after that. Tim Sheldon was absent attending legislative matters in Olympia. The speed increase from 35 to 45 miles per hour applies to the section of West Highland Road from West Cloqualum Road to near West Panhandle Lake Road. Loretta Swanson, Mason County Public Works Technical Services Manager, said the speed limit recommendations were based on public works study and data collection work performed by Public Works and staff and traffic engineer Dave Smith. The staff recommendation to increase the speed limit on the Highland was based on a traffic and engineering study. The Natural Resource Conservation Service says Washington's winter snowpack so far this season is 109% of normal. As of February 1st, the highest above average figure was 146% in the Okanagan River Basin in north central Washington. The most recent National Weather Service 3-month outlook is for above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. However, short-term forecasts call for continued snow in the mountains and rain in the valleys. State Department of Corrections Secretary Dan Pacholke, who resigned over the weekend, says he may stay on the job temporarily. He reportedly told members of Governor Jay Inslee's staff that he's willing to stay on while Inslee determines how a successor will be chosen. Senate Republicans plan to present initial findings today relating to their investigation of the early release of thousands of prisoners due to a computer problem. When it comes to renewable energy, Carl Dennison from Mason County Public Utility District 1 told Daybreak that there has been such a good response to the idea of a solar array that they will now likely have to move to a lottery system to award spots. The solar array will help ratepayers offset costs with the renewable resource. Dennison also talked about the possibility of an electric car charging station.
We're working on a electric charging station in Hoodsport, so folks driving 101 can maybe make the loop all the way around. So we're working with the port up there, and hopefully that project will come to fruition and we'll get that up and rolling soon.
Learn more about the solar projects on the Daybreak page at iFiberOneNewsRadio.com. For iFiber One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
Here's a way for you to green up that heating bill of yours. That is, save energy and save greenbacks. Go to archmechanical.com, learn about heat pumps and zone heating. We're talking about heating and cooling equipment and systems designed to heat or cool your home. Listen, if you don't use all the rooms in your home, why heat or cool them? Check out archmechanical.com and learn more. And green up, archmechanical.com.
Warriors and Spurs win, and Roy Williams has a scare. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. The wins keep on coming for the Warriors, who now have the best record after 51 games in NBA history.
Curry, harassed by Harden, finds a backdoor cut for Barnes and an open slam.
On KNBR, Golden State won its 10th in a row, beating Houston 123-110 behind Steph Curry's 35. And now they're 47-4. LaMarcus Aldridge, 28 points for the Red Hot Spurs, and Kawhi chipped in.
Kawhi inside the arc now with 6 to shoot. Driving to the
baseline, pull-up jumper, good. For Kawhi Leonard, 23 points for Leonard.
On WOAI, San Antonio beat Miami 119-101. Utah with a dramatic overtime win in Dallas.
3 seconds, rolls to his left with 2, steps back for the win. Got it! The Jazz win it. Unbelievable. On a Gordon Hayward game winner.
On KZNS, Jazz win 121-119. College hoops, scary moment during the North Carolina-Boston College game when Coach Roy Williams argued a call, walked to his bench, and then slumped to the floor.
I've had some vertigo attacks over the last 17 or 18 years. This is the first time I've really had one during a game.
Coach Williams said he's alive and okay. The Tar Heels beat Boston College. And top-ranked Villanova rolled past DePaul 86-59. Fifth-ranked Xavier bit the dust in Omaha.
Take away by Martin. Here comes Mo. Mo down the floor. He lays it up and scores. It's a 13-point game.
On 16-20, the zone, and Creighton picks off Xavier 70-56. And big changes to the way NASCAR does business, announcing Tuesday that it's shifting to a franchise-like system. NASCAR chairman Brian France.
We believe we made the team owner model more reliable, more stable, more open, and we've done that in a way that preserves a lot of the traditions that are important to NASCAR.
36 licenses will go to 19 owners to compete in Sprint Cup races starting this season, and they'll also cut the fields from 43 to 40 cars. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
The craziness is returning to the kennel.
Wiltshire behind his back with a dribble, and he scores. Got Karnowski to his left, pulls up, shoots, scores, and a foul.
Zags basketball from IMG.
Corners, Nelson driving baseline and a two-handed throwdown dunk. Oh my goodness, Silas Nelson.
From tip-off to the final buzzer.
And throws it down with 2 hands.
Follow the action all season long on your home for Bulldogs basketball, the Gonzaga IMG Sports Network.
For iFIBER One News Radio, I'm Jeff Slakey, AM 1030 and FM 103.3. It is 6:36 on the 10th of February. We're checking sports here. Start with the Mariners as we are getting closer and closer to spring training. Folks will be voluntarily showing up in about a week, and March 1st is the mandatory start date. We'll have at least 10 preseason games for the Mariners for you on the radio, and then we'll have the Mariners all season long right here on iFIBER One News Radio. Relief pitcher Joel Peralta has agreed to a minor league contract with the Seattle Mariners and will report to the big league spring training that's upcoming. 39-year-old right-hander spent parts of 11 seasons in the major leagues with 6 different clubs, and he was 3-1 with a 4.34 ERA in 33 games with the Dodgers last season. The Washington Huskies are having renewed success this season and sit in 4th place in the Pac-12 despite having 40 players foul out in just 23 games. That's the most in the country, and not even by a small margin. Next closest is Northern Colorado with 23. The U.S. women's national soccer team is concerned about the developing Zika virus crisis in Latin America. The 2016 Olympics are scheduled for August 5 through the 21st in Brazil, and the Zika virus down there is spreading rapidly. The Americans are ranked number 1 in the world and are vying for one of 2 Olympic team berths for the North and Central America and Caribbean region. Several of our high climber winter athletes will be competing in the postseason this week. Here are some of the competitions that are forthcoming. Thursday, girls basketball, West Central District Tournament first round at Auburn Mountain View High School, 7 o'clock. Friday, boys diving at Auburn, boys swimming at Hazen High School, and girls wrestling this upcoming Friday at Yelm High School. Boys wrestling, there's regionals at North Thurston on Saturday, and good luck to the dance team, who will be participating in the Capital Invite at Capital High School. 6:39 at iFIBER One News Radio. And now here's Carol with a look at the weather forecast.
Good morning. It's 41, cloudy with periods of rain, high at 52. The rest of the week looks like rain, but highs are staying in the low 50s. And even over the weekend, it looks like rain's going to be happening. Right now, it's 41.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, It's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
.639 at iFIBER One News Radio, and a good morning to you. Yesterday was a special election, and mostly involving school and fire levies. Merriam Knights School levy is passing. Fire District 18 Emergency Medical Services levy is passing this morning. Most all are passing. Let's see here. Actually, the Elma School 68 Prop 1 is not passing. It's at 53%. Needing a 60. Let's check the multi-county. But if you add in the Grays Harbor votes, they do get above that 60% threshold. So in just Mason County, that is not passing, but overall in Elma School District, it is. North Mason is at 61%, so that one passes. And the Hood Canal School 404 replacement of expiring educational programs levy, it is not passing this morning at 59.79%. And these levies need 60% threshold. Just one or two votes behind on that one. Also, it looks like the Yelm School District is not passing either. They need that 60% threshold for approval. Last night at the Civic Center, Carol, there was a big meeting going on from Department of Ecology.
Yeah, ecology officials met with the public last night to discuss the C Street landfill cleanup project. Jason Lanscrum, Department of Ecology's cleanup project manager for the C Street site, and Rebecca Lawson were there. She's the Ecology Regional Section Manager. We talked with her last week.
Right.
They addressed more than 60 people on Tuesday last night attending this informational meeting on the landfill cleanups. Lanscrum said it could take more than 2 years before a cleanup of the C Street landfill site even begins. This cleanup itself could take 3 or more years, depending on what they find. So if contamination is found outside of the 16.7 acre landfill boundaries, that would add time to the data gathering process. So the actual cleanup is always shorter than the gathering data part. So, I mean, they said they could just cap it with thick plastic and leave it intact if no toxins are found outside the site's boundaries. And there's no impact to the aquifer.
So there are a couple different scenarios. So this meeting was one of the first in a couple steps in exploring the extent and types of contamination up at that site. Some of the officials were saying it is intended to help in the planning and cleanup operations that protect human health and the environment. The comment period is going until March 9th, and you can get more information on the contact information at iFiber1newsradio.com. It's 6:42 right now. Couple other news stories for you to pass along. Maria Cantwell is in the news talking about the latest budget released by the president, and wildlife managers are looking for some help with the fisher.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Paraswabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is John Greenhut, the CEO of Paraswabs. And if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Paraswabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Paraswabs risk-free, call 1-800-928-7113. That's 1-800-928-7113. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends, family, and coworkers talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-928-7113. That's 1-800-928-7113.
Don't let an empty outbuilding on your land sit idle. Make some money from it. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. Rent it out as a storage facility for anything from cattle to campers as you're living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
He's done 3 tours and now he's saving his dad's farm. Do you know a farmer veteran like that? We're inviting you to share their story. Successful Farming Magazine and Grasshopper Mowers are teaming up to acknowledge and thank farmer veterans for their service. This new initiative is called From Fighter to Farmer. Enter any veteran farmers you know in our contest at agriculture.com/fighter to farmer. Explain the veteran's military experience and farming operation, along with the involvement they have in your community. 3 veterans will receive a combination prize package of $5,000 and a vacation to Nashville. One lucky winner will also receive a $10,000 gift certificate to spend at Grasshopper Mowers. No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents of the 40 contiguous United States and D.C. 13 years and older. Begins February 1st, 2016 and ends April 30th, 2016. Subject to official rules at agriculture.com/fighter to farmer rules. Void in Alaska, Hawaii, and where prohibited. Sponsor, Meredith Corporation. From Fighter to Farmer is brought to you by Grasshopper Mowers. Enter any veteran farmer you know in our contest at agriculture.com/fighter to farmer.
If you have a building on your land that's sitting empty, make some money by renting it out for storage. People are always looking for places to put things they don't have the room for, such as campers, boats, machinery, and hay. Ann Johans is a farm management extension program specialist at Iowa State University. She says your local extension office can help you determine rental rates or ask around to see what the going rates are in your area. Lease agreements will vary according to the age, condition, size, location, and efficiency of the building being rented.
When you're renting it out, you want to make sure you're covering your ownership costs, and so the owner is going to be the one that's paying for that structure itself as far as the insurance, and that would be part of their entire acreage, and they're the one that's paying the property tax on that piece of property. When they're looking at what they want to charge, they want to make sure that they're covering those costs in that rental fee.
In general, owners cover the cost for major repairs and insurance coverage for buildings and structures. Tenants provide labor and management and pay the cost of utilities and minor upkeep. Don't rely on a handshake to seal the deal. It's important to have a written lease that specifies the details.
The structure that's being rented and then what it's being used for, so that both parties clearly understand, what they are agreeing to. And then some details on maybe right of entry. What right of entry does the owner have? Do they still need to go in and inspect that property? If there's going to be improvement made or maintenance, which parties need to be responsible for that?
It's also a good idea to check out zoning laws that may vary depending on the building's planned use and location. You'll find more tips for renting out storage and a sample agreement form at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
6:47 here on a Wednesday morning. It's Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio. Jeff Slakey and Carol Gardner, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Senator Maria Cantwell has praised the Obama administration for including $65 million in their budget that was just proposed request for the Pacific Coastal Salmon Recovery Fund. $65 million for the Pacific Coastal Salmon Recovery Fund. The PCSRF is central to Washington State salmon recovery strategy, funding nearly $30 million each year in grants to Washington State. Pacific salmon are an economic driver in the Pac Northwest, she said. We must continue to protect and restore our iconic wild salmon fisheries. Investing in salmon habitat restoration today is an investment in our economic and cultural future.
Wildlife managers are seeking help from forest landowners to work as partners in the recovery of the fisher. It's a member of the weasel family that all but disappeared from the Pacific Northwest forest during the last century. There are voluntary agreements which landowners agree to help promote the conservation of this fisher. because it might become listed under the Endangered Species Act. They're working on that right now. In return, landowners receive assurances against additional land use restrictions in case it does become protected under the federal law.
That's a little bit of a change in how things have happened lately. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
A little preemptive going on. If you ever drive up I-5 past, what is that place where the kids have all the fun? Wild Waves?
Wild Waves, yeah.
Oh, what a great place that is. You go up I-5 past Wild Waves and you look to the right, beautiful, sprawling campus of Weyerhaeuser. I didn't even realize it, but I don't. Has anybody even been in there for a while? It just seems it's empty.
Yeah, it's empty. I don't know how long it's. I don't think it's been empty that long. Or...
I mean, the nature has not taken over back from Weyerhaeuser, has not taken back over the property.
No, it's stayed nice. I mean, they've kept it up, obviously.
It's up for sale and it was purchased. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, real estate developers and investment company Industrial Realty Group, they purchased Weyerhaeuser's sprawling corporate campus in Federal Way. The timber company itself, Weyerhaeuser, will be moving to Pioneer Square up in Seattle later. But the campus was purchased by IRG. It's 425 acres and over 800,000 square feet of office, lab, industrial space. That's a lot of real estate.
How are they going to put... They are making some serious cuts then, because if they got to take 800,000 square feet of office, lab, and industrial space and put it into some business front at Pioneer Square, I mean, like downtown Seattle Pioneer Square, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they said. So, yeah, I mean, to downsize, but maybe they've spread out other places. I don't exactly know where the Weyerhaeuser people are going, but this new IRG, it's actually a realty group, and they're really excited to come up here because it's a totally different type of it's a unique space for this area.
Is very unique.
Yeah, so, and Federal Way is like, well, you know, this sale, redevelopment, and reuse of this site's important for the future of Federal Way.
It's just sitting here otherwise.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking ceremony is coming up for the Pioneer School District. Good morning. It's 6:51. The Pioneer School District Board of Directors will be having an official groundbreaking ceremony for the new Pioneer Middle School and the expansion of the primary school. It's coming up on February 16th. That is this upcoming Tuesday. It's at 10 at the school district office there on Agate Road in Shelton. Current and former board members are going to be there. Pioneer Bond Advisory Committee and Pioneer Citizens for Education will be in attendance, invited in the event as well. Please join us as they celebrate the start of this construction project. And this is after, 8-9 years? Today is a bond day. We're just reading these results. And some of the places around here are not passing. And it was 8 or 9 years that Pioneer never got anything. Finally
passes, and now they can actually start breaking ground and moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to be real nice. It is 6:52 at iFIBER One. I love these shows like Cold Justice and Killing Fields and stuff like that. Well, Mason County's sheriffs are getting into the cold case unit, and they've got
some. They're not going to be on TV.
They're not going to be on.
That I know of.
No, but they're in the news. The cold case unit. We'll have that right after the Old Farmer's Almanac on this Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday, Carol.
Ash Wednesday.
We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
What are the hot food trends for 2016? A look at what's tickling discriminating taste buds today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Wednesday, February 10th. Ash Wednesday is the 41st day of the year, and Olympic swimming champ Mark Spitz celebrates a birthday. People who keep an eye on such things say the hottest food trend this year may not be any particular dish, but the way we get our meals. Smartphone technology means a tap of your touchscreen will have an artesian burrito or gourmet coffee on your doorstep in minutes. As for particular foods, experts say pasta is out, meat gets demoted to side dish status, and the creative preparation of vegetables takes center stage. Bet on cucumbers to take the Veggie of the Year award. They're turning up in all kinds of dishes to add texture, coolness, and freshness. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more and sign up for our free newsletter online at almanac.com.
listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
6:54 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey, along with Carol Gardner on this passing day.
Nobody's Wednesday.
I think it's Wednesday.
So Tuesday was the a special election day.
So it is considered an election.
Yes,
there's no people.
It's a
really.
Special election. Yes, if there was people that there could have been people probably put on it, but
and there may have been somewhere in the state. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of yesterday, Bernie, Trump. Wow. We'll have an update from New Hampshire on that one. John Kasich made a good showing, 16%. Real different in speaking styles between Trump and Kasich. Carol, Mason County Sheriff's Office Cold Case Unit, what are they talking about?
They're seeking some help in the investigations from 1988 and 1999. Two people were murdered, they believe. So there was deaths of 17-year-old Tracy L. West in 1988 and 10-year-old Sean Lawrence in 1999. So they're opening the cold case. It's a cold case, and it's just continued to be open. I'm not quite sure why all of a sudden they're just putting this out again. Maybe there's just been some interest from family or something. But Tracy, she disappeared on an afternoon in October while riding her motorcycle through the woods near Taylortown area just south of Shelton. She was on her way to work at what was then called the Taylortown Cafe, which is Taylortown. Her abandoned motorcycle was found later that same night by sheriff's deputies and assisting family members who had been searching for her after she failed to show up for work.
Wow.
In 1994, her skeletal remains were found by a hunter in a heavily wooded area a few miles from where she had disappeared. So that's, yeah, it's really interesting. So that was in 1988 and then in 1994. So 6 years later, they find her skeletal remains.
The other case from Sean Lawrence, his death also suspicious, but in October of 99 in the Olympic National Park, Browns Creek Campground, which is west of Hoodsport. Both of these, again, yeah, they are continuing to be open. And if you ever watch any of these shows where they try to go back and solve these cold cases, it hangs with the people working on them.
Yeah.
It's always in the back of their mind, always looking for that one piece of evidence that they may have missed. CNBC has a business radio report for you in just about 30 seconds or so. We have posted kind of a don't eat your breakfast while you're on our Facebook page this morning. There's a story that is going to be you're going to be checking what's in your ear holes this morning. Doctors in India remain perplexed as to how a colony of ants continues to live inside the head of a 12-year-old girl's ear. According to the Times of India and a very icky video on the YouTube, doctors have reportedly plucked hundreds of creepy, crawly little ants from 12-year-old Sharia Darji's ear.
That's pretty great.
Oh! She complained of an earache last August, and some other big ants kind of come out just whenever they want. Check out the video if you wish.
To Daybreak.
Not for the squeamish.
ONE Newsradio.
I'm Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio. Stocks are higher. The Dow's up 66 points. The Nasdaq higher by 50. Time Warner Cable posting a larger than expected 6% drop in revenue. The owner of cable channels CNN and HBO were hurt by a lack of hit movie releases and the strong dollar. Solar City is forecasting a larger than expected loss for the first quarter. The residential solar panel company says its rooftop installations will fall short of its target. Shares of Fitbit are already at record lows, but could fall even further today when insiders and employees are allowed to sell 127 million shares that had been locked up. And Staples has gotten the okay from European regulators for its $6.3 billion Office Depot purchase. That's after the office supply company has agreed to sell some of the European operations of its smaller rival. Chris Maurer, CNBC.
Did you know 1 in 50 people has a brain aneurysm? Every 18 minutes, a brain aneurysm erupts. Half of brain aneurysms result in death. Will it strike you or someone you love? The Brain Aneurysm Foundation is the globally recognized leader in brain aneurysm education, awareness, advocacy, support, and research funding. The Brain Aneurysm Foundation, raising awareness and ending fear. To learn facts at bafound.org. That's bafound.org.
Right now at Napa, when you buy 5 quarts of Valvoline conventional oil for just $3.59 a quart, we'll give you either Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, or Casey Kane free by mail. Hey, wait, what? Well, that makes more sense. We'll give you a bobblehead of either Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, or Casey Kane free by mail. Valvoline for just $3.59 and a free bobblehead. That's Napa know-how. General States pricing, taxes, and recycling fees extra at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last.
Mornings start with Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio. Join Jeff and Carol weekdays from 6 to 9 on AM 1030 and FM 1033, KMAS Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase.
We want to thank the people of New Hampshire.
Thank you, New Hampshire.
3 candidates are claiming victory in the New Hampshire primary and trying to ride the momentum to South Carolina. Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, and John Kasich, who calls his strong second-place finish among Republicans a win for light over darkness and proof that candidates who spend money on negative ads are wasting it.
They are spending all their money going negative. And when you pound me, I'm going to have to defend myself. But I think it's sad. I think it's a sad situation when you've got to rely on negative to move voters, which they haven't been able to do.
Third place was a 3-way tie among Ted Cruz, Jeb Bush, and Marco Rubio, who ABC's Tom Llamas tells us is acknowledging what he did wrong.
Marco Rubio, who had placed 3rd in the Iowa caucuses and had a lot of momentum going into New Hampshire, not finishing strong. He acknowledged a poor debate performance on Saturday in ABC's debate, definitely hurt him, but he made a promise to his supporters that will never happen again. He also goes into South Carolina, but now possibly fighting for his political life.
Hillary Clinton says she has just begun to fight despite feeling the burn of a big loss to Sanders. So she also says she knows she must do more to reach out to young voters. Chris Christie is hitting the pause button on his campaign.
It's going to take a while to count these votes. So we want to see exactly what happens.
He'll decide soon what he plans to do next. It could be just what Wall Street wants to hear. Fed Chairman Jessica Yellen is telling a Senate committee the U.S. economy faces a number of global threats that could derail growth and compel the Fed to slow the pace of future interest rate hikes. Despite the known health risks, 1 in 10 women admits to smoking while pregnant. Maternal tobacco use has been linked to low birth weight and premature delivery. How much are you spending on your sweetheart this year? The average person will spend about $147 on that someone special, and guys, no pressure. But 53% of women say they'll break up with you if you don't cough up a gift. This is ABC News.
Honey, I'm really worried about our retirement funds.
Oh, me too. We lost so much value in the recession in the stock market. I'm worried we won't have enough to retire.
Jim next door told me that he had set up a new kind of IRA with a gold-silver group. He said how simple and safe it was. It's a private storage IRA, and we could have real gold and silver in our hands.
Really? You mean we can actually see it and touch it?
Absolutely. Jim said we could have all the benefits of an IRA to help build our retirement income. Bottom line, we would own a real tangible asset, and we would have the security of knowing we're protected no matter what the economy does. What do you think?
I think we need to find out how to get our own private storage IRA. We need to call the Gold Silver Group right now.
Are you ready to protect your future? Call 800-295-6803 now to find out how easy and safe it is to set up a private storage IRA with Gold Silver Group, and find out how you can qualify for up to $700 in free silver. All transactions are privately delivered and fully insured. Please call us now. 800-295-6803. 800-295-6803.
The officer-involved shooting of an unarmed teen in Texas has some community activists drawing comparisons to the Michael Brown case in Ferguson, Missouri. ABC's Jim Ryan has the details.
An Austin police officer responding to a disturbance found a naked 17-year-old chasing a man through an apartment complex. He's told investigators that he shot David Joseph when the teen charged at him. Nelson Linder of the Austin NAACP says the use of force rules are clear.
You can only use the amount of force based on what you're encountering. There was no physical contact. You had other options.
While both the officer and the teen are black, Linder is demanding that Officer Jeffrey Freeman be fired. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
We interrupt this marathon in the name of love. Runners in this weekend's Los Angeles Marathon, which happens to fall on Valentine's Day, are being offered the chance to take a break at mile 10 to get married or renew their vows. They're stationing a justice of the peace at Hollywood and Vine to officiate. So far, more than 50 couples have signed up. It's part of a promotion for the new movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. Motorists can legally drive faster on part of Highland Road, but must now slow down on a North Bay Road section near an Allen marijuana shop and homes. The county commissioners yesterday approved speed limit changes that extends the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit on North Bay Road from East State Route 3 for about a third of a mile. Commissioners Terry Jeffries and Randy Netherland also approved the change, which allows motorists on North Bay Road to drive up to 50 miles per hour for about a mile, then slow down to 40 miles per hour for another mile after that. Tim Sheldon was absent attending legislative matters in Olympia. The speed increase from 35 to 45 miles per hour applies to the section of West Highland Road from West Cloqualum Road to near West Panhandle Lake Road. Loretta Swanson, Mason County Public Works Technical Services Manager, said the speed limit recommendations were based on public works study and data collection work performed by Public Works and staff and traffic engineer Dave Smith. The staff recommendation to increase the speed limit on the Highland was based on a traffic and engineering study. The Natural Resource Conservation Service says Washington's winter snowpack so far this season is 109% of normal. As of February 1st, the highest above average figure was 146% in the Okanagan River Basin in north central Washington. The most recent National Weather Service 3-month outlook is for above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. However, short-term forecasts call for continued snow in the mountains and rain in the valleys. State Department of Corrections Secretary Dan Pacholke, who resigned over the weekend, says he may stay on the job temporarily. He reportedly told members of Governor Jay Inslee's staff that he's willing to stay on while Inslee determines how a successor will be chosen. Senate Republicans plan to present initial findings today relating to their investigation of the early release of thousands of prisoners due to a computer problem. When it comes to renewable energy, Carl Dennison from Mason County Public Utility District 1 told Daybreak that there has been such a good response to the idea of a solar array that they will now likely have to move to a lottery system to award spots. The solar array will help ratepayers offset costs with the renewable resource. Dennison also talked about the possibility of an electric car charging station.
We're working on a electric charging station in Hoodsport, so folks driving 101 can maybe make the loop all the way around. So we're working with the port up there, and hopefully that project will come to fruition and we'll get that up and rolling soon.
Learn more about the solar projects on the Daybreak page at iFiber1newsradio.com. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
The Tom Hartman Show, live 9 to noon, weekdays on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
If you're afraid of school shootings, fine. Put him near the outer perimeter of the school. Put him in front of the school. Build a little guardhouse or something, stick him in it. But a cop to deal with discipline problems? It's turning a school into a prison. It's teaching kids how to be afraid of authority figures. It's teaching them, oh, yes, officer, no, officer. Oh, please don't beat the crap out of her. Oh, wow, look at him beat the crap out of her. This is so wrong.
Ascend Roofing Company in Shelton's on top of it. 868-2730. Roofing work that speaks for itself.
Hey, just a little note to say thank you for the outstanding work that you, Dennis, and especially Jorge and the crew performed for us on our roofing project. On a scale of 1 to 10, we rate it at 10.5. It was a fantastic feeling from start to finish. Your company is a first-class operation and will definitely give your name to all of our friends and family if they're in need of your services.
You could be the next happy customer by calling Ascend Roofing. 868-2730. Well, good morning. I'm Jeff Slakey for iFIBER One News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 1033. Looking at sports, we'll start with the Mariners, who are getting close to spring training and adding more players. Relief pitcher Joel Peralta agreed to a minor league contract with the Mariners and will report to big league spring training. 39-year-old right-hander spent parts of 11 seasons in the major leagues with 6 clubs, most recently with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Washington Huskies are having renewed success this season and sit in 4th place in the Pac-12 despite having 40 players foul out in just 23 games. It's like 2 players a game almost. That's the most in the country as well. And not by a small margin. The next closest is Northern Colorado with 23. The U.S. women's national soccer team was briefed last night on the developing Zika virus crisis in Latin America, a day before the start of the CONCACAF Olympic qualification tournament down in Texas. The 2016 Olympics are scheduled for August 5th through the 21st in Brazil, where the Zika virus is spreading rapidly. Goalkeeper Hope Solo told Sports Illustrated and SI.com that if the Olympics were held today, she wouldn't go. Zika is suspected of causing birth defects. Pregnant women are urged to avoid travel to affected areas. And also, Carol, I read this morning that they are thinking it could also be linked to another eye problem that kids are having. I'll have that story later. But another problem coming.
Right, and so when they say, oh, it's only going to affect this or it's not going to affect you, they just don't know enough about it.
They just don't know. And the other thing is, so let's say Hope Solo, I believe, is married to or with Jeremy Stevens, who's played for the Seahawks. Anyways, so she's saying, okay, fine, I'm not pregnant now.
Right.
If I am going to go to Rio and I get stung by a mosquito, and then my husband and I, we decide to have a kid, is it still in me?
Right.
And that's, again, like you said, we just don't know. There's some pretty scary stuff there with this Zika virus. From Jim Judson, from the desk of Jim Judson, AD for Shelton High School, several of the winter athletes will be competing in the postseason this week. Girls basketball Thursday against Auburn Mountain View. Good luck to them. Boys diving Friday at Auburn High School. Boys swimming at Hazen High School. Good luck to the boys there. Girls wrestling at Yelm High School on February 12th. That's this Friday. And Saturday, boys wrestling at North Thurston in the regionals. And on Saturday as well at Capitol High School, the dance team will be part of the Capitol Invite. Good luck to all the kids who are moving on into the postseason. It's 7:11 now, and here's Carol with the forecast. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff. It's 41, sunrise in about 15 minutes. It's cloudy with rain. High of 52, and the rest of the week looks like rain, though we're going to stay in the low 50s. And right now it's 41.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor, your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
7:12 at iFIBER One News Radio, and a good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. We're looking at some of the stories from around the Northwest. It was an election day yesterday, and we've got some results for you around Mason County. In when the levies are multi-county, I have put those numbers together. So I'll just say that right now. Merriam Night levy is passing at 64%. Fire District 18, 79%. The McCleary levy not getting that 60% threshold at just 56%. Elma is passing this morning. North Mason as well. The Hood Canal School is at 59.79%, and it needs 60%.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Having a new baby this year? If you just got the exciting news, Mountain View Women's Health has some more good news for you. The best prenatal and delivery care you could ask for is close to home and family. Mountain View Women's Health and the Birth Center at Mason General Hospital offer excellent care to make your prenatal and birth experience wonderful. Among the many great features is the personalized birthing plan that includes your choice of pain management from epidural to natural birth. For more information, call Mountain View Women's Health at 426-0955.
Mason General Hospital and family of clinics. Equal opportunity provider. Translation services provided.
Mason General and family of clinics.
Understanding your finances is a key to a strong financial future. Don't be the one who gets left behind. Visit feedthepig.org for tools and tips to get started on the path to financial stability. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
If you're looking for a new venue to watch your favorite sports, come check out the El Serape Cantina. Take in the classy Day of the Dead ambiance and enjoy your favorite sports on the large projector screen or 4K Ultra HD TVs. Warm up by the fire or shoot some pool on the beautifully crafted pool tables. Join the Cantina for Dollar Taco Tuesdays and bring out your inner rock star on Karaoke Wednesdays. With so much to offer, the Cantina is the place to be. Located on Railroad in downtown Shelton, right next to the El Serape restaurant.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio Studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
$7:15 and a good morning to you. It's Daybreak here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 1033. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner, and on the phone line with us this morning, 35th District Representative Drew McEwen. Morning, Drew.
Good morning, Jeff. Morning, Carol.
Good morning, Drew.
How's it going, Drew?
Oh, it's been a fun past week.
We were talking yesterday with your counterpart in the House, Representative Dan Griffey, and we're about halfway through, and his statute of limitations bill is looking good as it's moving through, and likely perhaps a floor vote here soon. What about some of the stuff you're working on?
Yeah, so the bill that I've got regarding undocumented people that are victims of crime, and this actually came up from a constituent whose sister was undocumented and was a victim of a crime. And there's, as you can imagine, a great reluctance to work with law enforcement when you're the victim and you're in that legal status. Mm-hmm. And so what this does is that there's under federal law, there is a program that police can sign off saying that this person's a victim, is working with us, and basically it gives them a temporary legal status while that crime gets adjudicated, so that they can work with law enforcement and not fear being deported. And certainly the entire immigration issue is something that's got to be solved at the federal level. We can't do that at the state level. And having said that, I don't think that somebody should who is a victim of a crime be fearful of working with law enforcement because of their immigration status. And so it addresses that. It took some last minute maneuvering here and got it through committee and got it through appropriations yesterday and onto the House floor. I'm confident we'll bring that to a vote here over the next week and move that on to the Senate. So then outside of that, working through appropriations and the budget, and we got it's been a rough past week for administration. He's lost some department heads, and some other things are coming out, and things have gotten a little contentious between the executive branch and the legislative branch. It's going to be interesting to see how things finish up here. The Senate, as you know, refused to confirm Secretary of Transportation on Friday, Lynn Peterson, and the governor's taking great exception to that. But I think at the end of the day, I haven't had a single email or a phone call saying, oh, that shouldn't have happened again. This is something that's on the Senate side, not on the House side. But I've had a fair number of emails and phone calls saying, thank goodness, it's time to restore some accountability. And is everything that's been happening in the Washington Department of Transportation the fault of Lynn Peterson? No, but I think what's at issue is that she refused to hold anybody else accountable. And then certainly the debacle and the rolling out of the toll lanes probably the tipping point on that. And then on Saturday, the Secretary of the Department of Corrections abruptly resigned. And, they're going through their issue with the computer glitch and the early release of 3,000 prisoners. It also has now resulted in the deaths of a couple of innocent civilians who ended up being victims of crimes by prisoners that were released early. And so that came to a head on Saturday. And then yesterday we find out the Healthcare Authority, which is also under the governor's administration, had a data breach resulting in the release of 91,000 records of personal data that went out very recently. So it's been a little rough. The DSHS head is last month said that would be stepping aside, and so there's a search going on for that. So the top three administration or agencies by number of state employees are essentially without a leadership right now, and it's made for some tough times between the executive branch and legislative branch.
I bet it has kind of a little frosty in there these days. One question that I have, but maybe you don't know this, but if Lynn was nominated in 2013, why did they just get around now to not confirming her?
Well, we're a little bit interesting in our state, a little different than on the federal level. So what happens at the state level, the governor is able to appoint whomever to the various posts, including the Department of Transportation. The Senate has the right, the constitutional right, to confirm or not to confirm or to not do anything. And so and it's a process that in the big scheme of legislative business, confirmations don't always come up to the very top of let's get this done right now. And the Senate has the right and the constitutional right to hold confirming that individual until a later date. And there's good reasons for that, as has just been displayed. They in theory, the Senate could go indefinitely and never do the confirmation, and the person would remain in that post. So it's, again, we work a little bit different than it is on the federal level. And it allows for that check and balance to be in place. So, the majority of these confirmations, I would say, probably happen, within 2 years. And so are we a little outside that window? Sure. But I think it was also a good check and balance that the Senate chose to use. And so I don't know if that answers it for you, or if you need further.
Yeah, it kind of does. I kind of get it. And then finally, before we let you go, I kind of want to go back to your bill that you're working on for the undocumented workers, which sounds like a great one for safety, not just workers, I guess, but anybody here, undocumented. What would stop someone from then, after the court case has been adjudicated and processed, that someone comes up and goes, oh, by the way, we happen to know of an illegal in our midst who, because now that the process is outside, it's all done.
Right. You know what? To be candid, I just don't think the federal government's got the resources to do that. I don't. And under the current president, under his administration, that has not been a priority with law enforcement. In fact, in speaking with Border Patrol last year, they don't even pursue somebody that runs the border. I mean, that's been the policy of this president's administration. So, there's but to more pointedly answer your question, there's a time frame there that's given to under these special visas where you're a victim of a crime. It's for a couple of years, and it would be my hope that an individual would take the necessary steps to get their documentation in order and complete that process before that time frame would come to a halt. And again, that's something we really got to deal with on the federal level as well. But
sure.
Your question's well taken, though.
722, 35th District Representative Drew McEwen. Always great talking to you, and good luck on this bill. We'll talk next week about a little more progress on it.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. You have a great day.
Have a good one.
Bye.
723 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. We'll take a quick break and look back over some of the news stories from the Northwest and beyond this morning on Daybreak.
listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Whether it's with flowers or with a gift, with a card or a kiss, Gateway Property Management reminds you to be sure to express your feelings this Valentine's Day. Cupid's message brought to you by Gateway Property Management.
It doesn't have to be much as long as it's from the heart. Our community credit union reminds you to be sure to tell your sweetie how much they mean to you. And be sure to seal it with a kiss. Happy Valentine's Day from our community credit union.
Hi, this is Terry Allen with a look at the community calendar on iFIBER ONE News Radio. Nonprofits post your upcoming events on iFIBER1newsradio.com. The Hood Sport chapter of Takeoff Pound Sensibly would like to invite anyone interested in taking control of their weight to join Friday mornings for support. Weigh-in is from 8:30 to 9:45, and the meetings begin at 10 a.m. Tops meets in the Hood Sport Community Church at 71 Finch Creek Road. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, I'm Terry Allen.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio, KMAX.
725 at iFIBER ONE News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 1033. I'm Jeff Slakey, and good morning to you, Carol. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Jeff. How are you doing?
Good. It is the 10th of February. It's a Wednesday. It's Ash Wednesday. Yesterday, there were some election results, and we're looking at those this morning. A 60% threshold needed for many of these school board school levies to pass. And right now, we're looking at McCleary is under the threshold. Also, the Tenino School District 1 is under the threshold, and both Yelm school propositions are below the 60% threshold. In addition to that, the Hood Canal schools, Carol, 60% is what I said, 60% threshold, 59.79.
How many votes? Do you know the vote total by any chance? I mean, you don't have to tell me right now.
That's fine.
That's just so,
sure.
Just goes to show that one vote or, counts.
One vote does count.
Yeah.
You've got the New Hampshire stuff right there. You do talk about that, and I'll try to find just what you were looking for there.
Well, according to some results, Trump won.
Sure.
Got 10 delegates. He pretty much took them all.
Yeah.
His total is way ahead. Kasich, Cruz, and Bush.
So
nobody else got any.
Right. That's how the delegates are ported out.
Yeah.
So 23 total for the state of New Hampshire.
Wow. So.
And it is proportional until March 1, I think, Super Tuesday. That's when it all goes all or nothing.
Right. So Bush and Cruz tied, and Trump wins. So.
And so what's crazy about this is that, Bush has 2 delegates.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just use him as an example. Let's say, for fun, that it's Trump, Kasich, Cruz.
Yeah.
But still, Bush has those 2 delegates.
Mm-hmm.
So he can go to Minnesota, Cleveland, I think, is where the GOP's having their convention this year. And so he can go and make the case. I mean, he's got delegates. He's got the votes. It's pretty amazing. And then on the Democratic side, Bernie won handedly. I think like 50,000 votes.
13 for Sanders, 9 for Clinton. But that doesn't really matter because, this is not going to matter. It does matter, but there's still going to be the 2 of them until the primary, right?
Yeah, because there's nobody else running.
Because there's nobody else.
Especially in the Democratic.
She has a lot more time to try to figure it out.
Next is the Nevada caucuses in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. All right, so it's 9.
O'Malley got some votes, so he had already dropped out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There was a couple Republicans that got votes, too. I think Santorum was one, got like 70. All right, Hood Canal School, the replacement levy, 950 votes in the affirmative, 639 votes in the negative. So again, that is a 59.79 percentage. And you want me to figure out if there was 951 votes, if that would be the 60% threshold?
Well, how many votes is between them?
I can't even find
Just
it.
like 2 votes are between them, or what was that again? Where were you?
So 950 yes, 639 no.
Okay, so is this Multi-County?
No, it's just Hood Canal. 0.2%.
Okay, so
away from the 60% threshold.
Quite a bit of votes between them.
Well, there are a couple more expected to count. The voter turnout this morning at 36%. They'll have a next ballot count today at 4, and the certification date will be on February 19th. So I'll see if I can get those numbers. We have a Marilyn Foster news break coming up in the minutes. Until then, Carol, yesterday was a big meeting at the Civic Center for the Department of Ecology. And quickly, what can you tell us about?
Not just for the Department of Ecology. They were presenting, it was for the public. It was about the C Street landfill cleanup project. It could take years. The ecology officials met with the public to discuss what are they going to do? There was about 60 people in attendance. The ecology led the meeting. They said it could take more than 2 years before the cleanup could actually start because they're not quite sure what they're going to find. That's the big, huge thing is they're doing data collecting. What kind of chemicals are in there? How do you clean those up? It's 16.7 acre landfill boundaries. But is there anything contamination on the outside of the boundaries?
Oh, so did it leach or anything?
Yeah.
Is that what they're wondering?
Yeah. So if there is nothing really too bad, they can just cap the area and leave it intact. But if the toxins, went outside, they don't know. Did it have any impact to the aquifer? Those are all things that they need to find out. So you can write in, and we'll have that that information is on iFIBER1newsradio.com.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
From the iFIBER One News Radio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. Motorists can legally drive faster on part of Highland Road, but must now slow down on a North Bay Road section near an Allen marijuana shop and homes. The county commissioners yesterday approved speed limit changes that extends the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit on North Bay Road from East State Route 3 for about a third of a mile. Commissioners Terry Jeffries and Randy Netherland also approved the change, which allows motorists on North Bay Road to drive up to 50 miles per hour for about a mile, then slow down to 40 miles per hour for another mile after that. Tim Sheldon was absent attending legislative matters in Olympia. The speed increase from 35 to 45 miles per hour applies to the section of West Highland Road from West Cloqualum Road to near West Panhandle Lake Road. Loretta Swanson, Mason County Public Works Technical Services Manager, said the speed limit recommendations were based on public works study and data collection work performed by Public Works and staff and traffic engineer Dave Smith. The staff recommendation to increase the speed limit on Highland was based on a traffic and engineering study. The Natural Resource Conservation Service says Washington's winter snowpack so far this season is 109% of normal. As of February 1st, the highest above average figure was 146% in the Okanagan River Basin in north central Washington. The most recent National Weather Service 3-month outlook is for above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. However, short-term forecasts call for continued snow in the mountains and rain in the valleys. State Department of Corrections Secretary Dan Pacholke, who resigned over the weekend, says he may stay on the job temporarily. He reportedly told members of Governor Jay Inslee's staff that he's willing to stay on while Inslee determines how a successor will be chosen. Senate Republicans plan to present initial findings today relating to their investigation of the early release of thousands of prisoners due to a computer problem. When it comes to renewable energy, Carl Dennison from Mason County Public Utility District 1 told Daybreak that there has been such a good response to the idea of a solar array that they will now likely have to move to a lottery system to award spots. The solar array will help ratepayers offset costs with the renewable resource. Dennison also talked about the possibility of an electric car charging station.
We're working on a electric charging station in Hoodsport, so folks driving 101 can maybe make the loop all the way around. So we're working with the port up there, and hopefully that project will come to fruition, and we'll get that up and rolling soon.
Learn more about the solar projects on the Daybreak page at iFiber1newsradio.com. For iFiber One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
Gillis Auto Center in Shelton. Best deals, best price, best trade, and low payments. And when you think Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram truck, think family-owned Gillis Auto Center. With the year-end clearance event going on right now, the 2015s are drastically reduced and have to go before you purchase a new car or truck anywhere else. Do yourself a solid and check with Gillis Auto Center first for the best savings. We'll meet or beat any deal. See Gillis for details at the City Center Matlock exit and 24/7 at GillisAutoCenter.com.
The Chad Benson Show.
You want to be a billionaire? You find where there's a problem. Then you create a solution to said problem, but you don't cure it. It's not the end-all to be-all. You continually have to have it. If it's a disease, there's no money in the cure, there's money in the disease. The Democrats, it's about getting voters, just like for the Republicans.
The Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, live weekdays, 3 to 6 on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Warriors and Spurs win, and Roy Williams has a scare. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. The wins keep on coming for the Warriors, who now have the best record after 51 games in NBA history.
Curry, harassed by Harden, finds a backdoor cut for Barnes and an open slam.
On KNBR, Golden State won its 10th in a row, beating Houston 123-110 behind Steph Curry's 35. And now they're 47-4. LaMarcus Aldridge, 28 points for the Red Hot Spurs, and Kawhi chipped in.
Kawhi inside the arc now with 6 to shoot. Driving to the baseline. Pull-up jumper. Good. For Kawhi Leonard. 23 points for Leonard.
On WOAI, San Antonio beat Miami 119-101. Utah with a dramatic overtime win in Dallas.
3 seconds. Rolls to his left with 2. Steps back for the win. Got it! The Jazz win in Dallas on a Gordon Hayward game winner.
On KZNS, Jazz win 121-119. College hoops, scary moment during the North Carolina-Boston College game when Coach Roy Williams argued a call, walked to his bench, and then slumped to the floor.
I've had some vertigo attacks over the last 17 or 18 years. This is the first time I've really had one during a game.
Coach Williams said he's alive and okay. The Tar Heels beat Boston College. And top-ranked Villanova rolled past DePaul 86-59. Fifth-ranked Xavier bit the dust in Omaha.
Take away by Martin. Here comes Mo. Mo down the floor. He lays it up and scores. It's a 13-point game.
On 16-20, the zone, and Creighton picks off Xavier 70-56. And big changes to the way NASCAR does business, announcing Tuesday that it's shifting to a franchise-like system. NASCAR Chairman Brian France.
We believe we made the team owner model more reliable, more stable, more open, and we've done that in a way that preserves a lot of the traditions that are important to NASCAR.
36 licenses will go to 19 owners to compete in Sprint Cup races starting this season, and they'll also cut the fields from 43 to 40 cars. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
Good morning. I'm Jeff Slakey with iFIBER ONE Newsradio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3. It's 7:37, and we are looking at some news from the sports world.
U.S. soccer star Hope Solo now telling Sports Illustrated that given the threat of the Zika virus, she would skip the Olympic Games if forced to make the choice today, saying she, quote, would never take the risk of having an unhealthy child. Health authorities say there is no evidence that the Zika virus could affect future pregnancies, though the babies of currently pregnant women are at risk of microcephaly, a birth defect associated with small heads and abnormal brain development. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
Thank you, Lana, for that. We were just talking about that last half hour. It's so unnerving to not know if it does stick in your body system for a while. And if, you know, a lot of folks are saying, if it's just going to be a headache, a rash, okay. But is it okay?
I know it. The unknown.
The unknown for sure.
And a mosquito. How are you even going to find
just
that
a little mosquito. I mean, people get bit by mosquitoes all the time. I have no idea. All right. Other sports news for you. Relief pitcher Joel Peralta has agreed to a minor league contract with the Mariners. He's been in the bigs for about 11 seasons or so with 6 clubs. Huskies are 4th place in the Pac-12. They have got some foul troubles, though. 40 players fouled out in 23 games. Next, most closest is 23 players have fouled out in 23 games, so almost a double. Also, this weekend starts postseason play for Shelton High Climber athletes, and good luck to girls basketball in the West Central District Tournament first round at Auburn Mountain View High School, 7 o'clock Thursday. Boys diving Friday morning at 10:30 at Auburn High School. At Hazen High School at 5 in the afternoon, boys swimming. Girls wrestling regionals at Yelm at 5. Saturday, more on the docket, more wrestling for you at North Thurston with the boys, and the dance team will be part of the invited Capital High School at 1. Good luck to all the players and participants in postseason play this winter. 7:38 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Time now to look at the forecast. Here's Carol.
Good morning. It's 41, mostly cloudy with periods of rain, high of 52. The rest of the week looks like rain, but highs are going to stay in the low 50s. And right now it's 41.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You, from business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Maria.
7:39 at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a good morning to you. Ecology officials met with the public last night to discuss the C Street landfill cleanup project. Jason Landstrom from the Department of Ecology Cleanup Project Manager for the C Street site, and Rebecca Lawson from Ecology, and she's the Regional Section Manager who's been on Daybreak with us last week, addressed more than 60 people Tuesday night attending an ecology-led informational meeting on the proposed landfill cleanup. Landstrom said it could take more than 2 years before a cleanup of the C Street landfill site begins, and the cleanup itself could take 3 or more, depending on what they find. Now, for example, if contamination is found outside of what they consider the landfill boundaries, it's a 16.7 acre part of landfill boundaries. That, of course, would add more time in the idea that maybe some of this stuff leached out into the and, I don't know if there's the proper, and I don't know if anybody knows really if there's the proper plasticking around the holes. That's what they do these days. They put.
Right, I don't think so. It was like an open pit.
Yeah.
Just sort of an unsanctioned open pit to go.
Obviously, I'm no Department of Ecology expert here, but I would almost assume if there wasn't a barrier.
Right, then it would be
things leach.
Yeah.
Gravity is a thing that happens. The actual cleanup process, once they get this all figured out, is always the shortest part of the process. He said the site could be capped with thick plastic and left intact if no toxins are found outside. So again, that kind of leads to what we were just talking about. The meeting at the Civic Center was one of the first steps in exploring this, and we'll continue and encouraging comments from the Department of Ecology. They are encouraging comments until March 9th, and the contact information is at iFIBER1newsradio.com.
In other environmental news, U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell praised the Obama administration for including $65 million in the budget request for the Pacific Coastal Salmon Recovery Fund. This PCSRF is central to Washington State salmon recovery strategy. Nearly $30 million each year in grants to Washington State. So, Pacific salmon are an economic driver in the Pacific Northwest, says Cantwell. We must continue to protect and restore our wild salmon.
7:42 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Do you have a big bed? Do you have a little bed? Even if you have a big bed, do you get to use all of it? Talk about sharing space. Coming up next.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Hi, everyone. This is Mark Tobert, your advertising consultant from iFIBER ONE News Radio. Are you missing customers because you only market to a specific group? iFIBER ONE News Radio can help you hit a larger group of buyers with our diverse audience. We are 24 hours of local and national breaking news
award-winning talk radio, and primetime sports, including local high school sports. What does this mean to you? This means our listeners listen longer to entire programs and don't switch to another station when a commercial comes on. Our coverage in the Puget Sound area, it's over 500,000 listeners, including Mason County, Thurston County, Grace Harbor County, King, Pierce, Joint Base Lewis McCourt, and Kitsap County to the Bremerton Naval Base. All advertising is 100% tax deductible. So how can you afford not to advertise? Call me, Mark Tobert, at iFIBER ONE Newsradio to become a total audience plan advertiser. Just call 360-426-1030.
Your small business needs a loyalty rewards program, but email and paper cards are not effective, and using your POS system where you have to do all the work is bad as well. Go mobile. 95% of customers will check your marketing message on their smartphones in the first 5 minutes you send it, and we do all the work for you for under $150 a month. Call Puget Sound Perks today, 253-584-1212, or visit psperks.com. Reward your customers, and they'll reward you back.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
7:45. Good morning to you. It's a Wednesday here. iFIBER ONE News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3. Also streaming on the World Wide Web at iFIBER1newsradio.com. YouTube video is up and running as well. It is 7:45, and there's a guy on the internet these days, John Nagel of Dallas, Texas. He is super nerd. Can I say that?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
He's a data scientist in the video game industry. Mm-hmm. And him and his wife kind of started to have a little bit of a back and forth about who's hogging the bed. And this is the thing. He is now working hard to prove, I will prove that it's my wife who is the bed hog. So he pulls out a laser level. I got one of these that I used, because they work great if you want to put a big laser line against your wall and make marks like if you're doing stuff. Mm-hmm. But it also works for fun things like this. And so basically what the guy did is they measured the bed. Let's say you have a 50 wide bed. I don't know if that even is a thing. So then he measured halfway through, 25 inches, puts the laser level out there, and now you can see a big bright red line. Mm-hmm. Do not cross over this line, wifey. I'm watching you.
Well, what if she's bigger? She's pregnant. She's got to spread out a little bit.
Currently pregnant with twins, so I'm sure I'll creep onto his side more and more as she gets bigger, says. And she's claiming extenuating circumstances. I'll give her a pass on that.
Okay.
I can see that. Any jury would side with her on that one. If the belly crosses the laser, that is the baby invading the territory.
Exactly.
And not the wife. It is just a fun experiment, but it is a pain. I often am crunched up with the dogs all around me, but if for whatever reason they're not there, I sleep diagonally, and I know it really is not fun for Stephanie.
I'm sure it would not be.
And then the other thing is that you get into the bed and you're trying to get comfy.
Okay.
Go ahead. No. Well, I was just going to say I get in there, and so first off, I'm trying to move around and get comfortable on my bed, and then the next thing I notice is that it's my pillow. I have a big problem with my pillow, and this is a big thing now, and Consumer Reports is getting into this. We have some reports here. Hold on, let me find this first one as it shows up. Celia Coopersmond Lerman. If you're looking for a new pillow, Consumer Reports says you should find one that matches your sleep position, side, back, or stomach. They say then test it for 10 to 15 minutes or even a few nights to see if it's a match. Not about price, but it's about preference.
It's really so personal, and there's so many pillows out there. We really don't recommend any brands in particular.
So again, they want to match it to your sleep.
The most important thing you need to look for is matching the pillow to your sleep position. That's going to give you a better success rate of keeping your head and neck aligned.
Firm pillows for side sleepers, medium pillows if you sleep on your back, and thin scrunchable ones if you're on your stomach. That's what they say the best one is. And I don't know, I always am looking for a new pillow because I never am happy with my pillows. I have a very firm kind of Tempur-Pedic one that you can't fold at all. It's supposed to meld to your head once you put it on there. But then I've got other ones that are, it's basically like tissue paper in there, and you can really just fold them up. So if you're looking to wonder if your pillow is old or not, here is the tips from Consumer Reports.
Fold the pillow in half or in triples if you have a king-size pillow, and if it doesn't pop back up, then the pillow's toast, and you probably should go out and buy a new one.
Well, now I've got to buy all new pillows because I don't think any are like that. Carol, do you fancy a side? Are you a back side or?
I sleep on my back mainly, but then sometimes I want to sleep on my side.
It's so hard to choose. Why am I going to have to be forced to choose my sleeping pattern for the next 15 years or 30, 50 years?
You should buy a pillow more recently than that, like every couple of years.
Have you seen those My Pillows? You can really moosh them very nicely.
But that's too squishy for me. So, and then, I don't know. Pillows are difficult. Maybe you just shouldn't even sleep with a pillow at all.
And just on the floor? I mean,
I wouldn't recommend that.
What are you going to do if you don't have a pillow?
Just sleep like regular.
With my hand, the pillow?
Why do you have to have a pillow?
Well, because that's what they tell you. I mean, that you buy a bed, you got to get a pillow.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
What are the hot food trends for 2016? I'll look at what's tickling discriminating taste buds today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Wednesday, February 10th. Ash Wednesday is the 41st day of the year, and Olympic swimming champ Mark Spitz celebrates a birthday. People who keep an eye on such things say the hottest food trend this year may not be any particular dish, but the way we get our meals. Smartphone technology means a tap of your touchscreen will have an artesian burrito or gourmet coffee on your doorstep in minutes. As for particular foods, experts say pasta is out, meat gets demoted to side dish status, and the creative preparation of vegetables takes center stage. Bet on cucumbers to take the Veggie of the Year award. They're turning up in all kinds of dishes to add texture, coolness, and freshness. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more and sign up for our free newsletter online at almanac.com.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Paraswabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is John Greenhut, the CEO of Paraswabs. And if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Paraswabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Paraswabs risk-free, call 1-800-928-7113. That's 1-800-928-7113. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends, family, and coworkers talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-928-7113. That's 1-800-928-7113.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio, KMAS.
7:52 at iFIBER ONE News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3. Good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff.
Election day yesterday, as people were heading to fill out their ballots for various results when it comes to school levies, and I've got some numbers for you this morning. For the schools, you have to have a 60% threshold. So some of the schools are not making that this morning. Merriam Knight is at 64%. McCleary is not at 56%. 62% for Elma. North Mason at 61%. Also, Fire District 18 is at 79%. Griffin is passing. North Thurston Prop 1 is passing. Ole 1 and 2 passing. Rainier passes. Rochester, Tumwater, both pass. What is not getting its 60% threshold this morning are both of the Yelm Community School propositions, the Tenino School proposition, and the Hood Canal School levy proposition. So the Hood Canal School this morning, with 950 votes in the affirmative, sits at 59.79%. So we did the math, we crunched the numbers, and there are more ballots to be counted, but it is a 4-vote swing. 4 votes. If it would have stood, the numbers would have stand. Carol, 4 votes would have flipped that to the 60% threshold. Isn't that amazing?
That is
4
amazing.
votes.
Well, maybe there's 4 votes out there.
Maybe there are. So that's what's going on with the elections this morning. It's 7:55 at iFIBER ONE Newsradio, and a good morning to you. Today's Wednesday, but it's also Ash Wednesday.
Ahead of his Ash Wednesday Mass, Pope Francis tells a group of global priests to stop judging. I'm ABC's Megan Williams in Rome, where Pope Francis told a group of 700 priests to stress a welcoming image of the Catholic Church and to stop nosing around in embarrassing details as they hear confessions. The Pope said priests need to stop scolding church members too and judging them with a sense of superiority. He said they should welcome them with open arms. The Pope also sent a message to young people in the city of Pompeii who will be providing social media messages throughout the Christian Lent, a period that lasts until Easter Sunday. Francis warned young people against doing good deeds only as a way to be praised and rewarded. He said seeking glory is wrong because it makes us focus on what other people think of us. The Pope will deliver his Ash Wednesday Mass in Rome before heading to Mexico with a stopover in Cuba on Friday. In Cuba, he'll make a historic declaration with the head of the Russian Orthodox Church. Megan Williams, ABC News, Rome.
7:55 at iFIBER ONE Newsradio on this Ash Wednesday. Coming up at 8 o'clock, we have the latest in ABC News. And after that, Mary Lynn Foster with the latest in local news around the Northwest. Check out our iFIBER1newsradio.com website after Jeff Chu reports on the story last night about the C Street landfill cleanup. Also, we are looking at other AP news stories. A federal judge said the only reason she won't hold Washington State in contempt for failing to provide timely competency services is because state judges have issued dozens of contempt orders and imposed $1 million in fines, but it hasn't done anything. It has not altered the state's conduct. Instead, Judge Marcia Peckman altered the permanent injunction and gave the Department of Social and Health Services until May 27 to fix the problems. This is in regards, I believe, to one of the outstanding problems of due process for mentally handicapped folks who aren't getting their looks at in a correct amount of time.
Right. It's a really emotional and difficult process for everybody.
Yeah, so quite the backlog. 7:56. State officials say a data breach has affected 91,000 Washington Medicaid clients. 2 state employees have been fired for improperly handling personal information of people who are involved in the Washington Apple Health. So it was socials, date of births, Apple Health ID numbers, and some other private health information. And so what happened is there was a person working on this information, sent it to another person, a spreadsheet with this information, sent it to someone else for some assistance. And during a whistleblower investigation into misuse of state resources. They saw this, that it was passed from one person to the other without this sensitive information redacted. But the authorities' risk manager, Steve Dotson, says they don't believe the client files went beyond the two individuals' privacy laws, however, were violated, and state employees have notified the folks offering a year of free credit monitoring. King County will spend about $17 million for initiatives aimed at curbing homelessness and special attention to South and East King counties. This is on the rise in those parts of King County. Reports are that King County Executive Dow Constantine, other regional leaders, and homeless advocates on Monday announced the funding, which will go towards affordable housing units and emergency shelters. Was it yesterday we were talking about the tiny homes and how tiny homes are popping up, and they're even popping up in certain areas in South King County and the Soto area. I believe they're building, 10 or 12 tiny homes in little parking lots.
Right.
And I don't think you go and get services. They have facilities and everything. In November, Seattle Mayor Ed Murray and Dow Constantine declared a state of emergency in homelessness in the county, looking for state and federal funds. That's a trend followed along with Los Angeles, and Portland also did that.
Attorneys for a Richland flower shop owner who lost a lawsuit over her refusal to provide services for a same-sex wedding has filed a brief with the state Supreme Court. The Tri-City Herald reports that the brief addresses some of the arguments made by the state and the American Civil Liberties Union in the case. Lawyers for Baronel Stutzman have asked that the state Supreme Court to review her case. Decision is expected soon. Stutzman is the one that owns Arlene's Flower in Richland and says her religious beliefs prevent her from providing flowers for a same-sex wedding. A Benton County judge ruled last year that she broke the law when she told a longtime customer that she couldn't provide services for his same-sex wedding because of her religious beliefs. The case drew nationwide attention.
ABC News is coming up next. Marilyn Foster after that. Port of Call at 8:45. It's all coming up on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Tom Hartman is live and waiting your call. Weekdays from 9 to noon on iFIBER ONE News Radio, AM 1030, FM 1033, KMAS Shelton.
News. I'm Karen Chase. Next stop, South Carolina. Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are hoping their New Hampshire primary victories will get the attention of voters in future contest states.
What do we really want to thank, right? We want to thank the people of New Hampshire, right? Do we love the people of New Hampshire? Thank you, New Hampshire.
Ohio Governor John Kasich is pumped about his second-place finish. Hillary Clinton is not so thrilled about hers.
We're going to fight for every vote in every state. We're going to fight for real solutions that make a real difference in people's lives.
ABC's Cecilia Vega says there are reports that changes are coming to Clinton's campaign.
Clinton's campaign is adamantly denying these rumors that are circulating about a staff shakeup, that there are major firings to happen. But they certainly will be doing some soul searching after this loss here in New Hampshire.
After finishing at the back of the pack, Chris Christie says he's heading back to New Jersey to take a deep breath and think about whether to keep running. Sources say he may pull out of the race as soon as today. Marco Rubio says he knows why he finished in a three-way tie for third. It was his lackluster debate performance.
I did not do well on Saturday night, so listen to this. That will never happen again.
But Rubio assured voters he is staying in the race, saying while it'll take a little longer, he still plans to be the nominee. A Royal Caribbean cruise ship is returning to its New Jersey port tonight as criticism of the captain mounts. 4 people suffered minor injuries when the ship sailed through a storm, tossing the vessel around. The captain says the weather was nothing like what had been forecast. Show me the best tweets first. That's the name of a new Twitter feature. Flip it on and Twitter will top your feed with tweets you're most likely to care about in reverse chronological order. Twitter lit up with concern when subs said they saw smoke streaming from New York's One World Trade Center. It certainly looked ominous, but fire officials tweeted back it was steam from a heating unit. This is ABC News.
Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench for Blue Emu.
I've used Blue Emu products for 10 years. They all have deep penetrating emu oil, but now for those hard to reach places, there's Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray, made with emu oil and the same active ingredient as the leading pain relief cream. Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray helps with all my joint pains and muscle aches. Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray. Take it from me, it works fast and you won't stink.
Available at Walmart, Rite Aid, and stores everywhere.
Advance Auto Parts knows what makes a car guy a car guy. It's the commitment to maintain an engine through the 300,000-mile mark. It's burning the midnight oil to finish a job most guys would rather hand off. It's loyalty, and it's why there's speed perks from Advance Auto Parts. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense. Advance Auto Parts, for guys who love getting under the hood.
See store to sign up or visit speedperks.com for details.
Iran is about to purchase fighter jets from Russia. ABC's Tom Rivers is at the foreign desk with details.
Unlike the U.S., which slapped 11 new sanctions on Tehran, Russia isn't constrained and is busy cutting new big deals. Iran's defense minister says his country will sign a contract with Moscow for the purchase of Sukhoi 30 fighter jets. Iran's Air Force desperately needs an upgrade, and it still heavily depends on domestically modified versions of long outdated warplanes, including former Soviet MiGs and American F-14As from the 70s. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the foreign desk.
An Alaska Airlines flight from Boston to San Diego was forced to divert to Denver for an emergency landing after a passenger aboard started drinking alcohol he had brought on board. When told he couldn't do that, he started shouting, "I'm not a terrorist and we're all going to die. You're all going to die." The plane was met by police in Denver who arrested the obviously intoxicated man. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. Motorists can legally drive faster on part of Highland Road, but must now slow down on a North Bay Road section near an Allen marijuana shop and homes. The county commissioners yesterday approved speed limit changes that extends the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit on North Bay Road from East State Route 3 for about a third of a mile. Commissioners Terry Jeffries and Randy Netherland also approved the change, which allows motorists on North Bay Road to drive up to 50 miles per hour for about a mile, then slow down to 40 miles per hour for another mile after that. Tim Sheldon was absent attending legislative matters in Olympia. The speed increase from 35 to 45 miles per hour applies to the section of West Highland Road from West Cloqualum Road to near West Panhandle Lake Road. Loretta Swanson, Mason County Public Works Technical Services Manager, said the speed limit recommendations were based on public works study and data collection work performed by Public Works and staff and traffic engineer Dave Smith. The staff recommendation to increase the speed limit on Highland was based on a traffic and engineering study. The Natural Resource Conservation Service says Washington's winter snowpack so far this season is 109% of normal. As of February 1st, the highest above average figure was 146% in the Okanagan River Basin in north central Washington. The most recent National Weather Service 3-month outlook is for above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. However, short-term forecasts call for continued snow in the mountains and rain in the valleys. State Department of Corrections Secretary Dan Patulke, who resigned over the weekend, says he may stay on the job temporarily. He reportedly told members of Governor Jay Inslee's staff that he's willing to stay on while Inslee determines how a successor will be chosen. Senate Republicans plan to present initial findings today relating to their investigation of the early release of thousands of prisoners due to a computer problem. When it comes to renewable energy, Carl Dennison from Mason County Public Utility District 1 told Daybreak that there has been such a good response to the idea of a solar array that they will now likely have to move to a lottery system to award spots. The solar array will help ratepayers offset costs with the renewable resource. Dennison also talked about the possibility of an electric car charging station.
We're working on a electric charging station in Hoodsport, so folks driving 101 can maybe make the loop all the way around. So we're working with the port up there, and hopefully that project will come to fruition, and we'll get that up and rolling soon.
Learn more about the solar projects on the Daybreak page at iFiber1newsradio.com. For iFiber One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
Has this ever happened to you? Your significant other says, we've got to redo the kitchen, and you break out into a cold sweat?
Well, don't worry. It's a common condition, something we call needless remodeling anxiety, and we've got the cure. Heck, we are the cure. Hi, I'm Tom Kreitler.
And I'm Leslie Segretti. Whether you do it yourself or direct it yourself, we can help you keep your project on track and on budget.
So join us this weekend for the Money Pit Home Improvement Radio Show.
Saturdays at 10, Sundays at 7 on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
I'm attorney Harold Carr. During the past 25 years, more than 8,000 people have trusted me to handle their personal injury cases. I understand how an injury can disrupt your life and cause financial hardship for you and your family. At the law firm of Harold Carr, we have 5 attorneys and 19 staff members experienced with negotiating and litigating with insurance companies. So if you feel the insurance company is not dealing with you fairly, call me, Harold Carr. Let us deal with the insurance company so you won't have to.
Car accident? Call Carr or visit us online at haroldcarrattorney.com.
Well, good morning. I'm Jeff Slakey at iFIBER ONE News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3. It's 8:08. We're looking at sports from around the Northwest. Relief pitcher Joel Peralta has agreed to a minor league contract with the Seattle Mariners and will report to big league spring training, which is voluntary. Show up in 8 days. March 1 is when things really start.
Soon?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it is.
Get out my shirts, Mariners shirts.
You guys are fighting your Mariners clothes? I just found a hat I had. I don't think I've ever worn it from the Mariners. It's a nice looking cap too. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Get out and
Get
enjoy
out that
the
gear.
Mariners. You a big Mariners fan? Of all the sports, you've Mariners? I love baseball in the
yeah.
summer.
I love Mariners. I love listening to it. Yeah.
On a summer day, you put out the barbecue, you turn on the radio, and you just have a good afternoon little party.
Yeah, I've even had to wait in the driveway until the inning was over.
And you're listening to it?
Because I wasn't sure if I was going to hear it in the house I was going to.
With Rick and the gang. Oh, what fun. Yeah, so March 1, and we'll have at least 10 preseason games for you. And what's great about the preseason games is you get a lot of people in and out, a lot of players that you'll see them for a minute and then they'll go somewhere else. And they get down, they play, and they're all having a lot of fun. And then with Griffey getting in the Hall of Fame, he's going to be making time.
Right.
So that's good.
It's going to be hopefully an exciting.
Yeah, I like it. I like the looks with the new staff. Huskies, Washington Huskies, having renewed success this season and sit in 4th place in the Pac-12. They're having a little bit of foul trouble. They've played 23 games so far, and they've had 40 players foul out. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, Northern Colorado is the second closest. And in the same 23 games, they've only had 23 players foul out. So there's a little bit of foul trouble. But, I mean, whatever. It's working for them.
Maybe it's the stadium.
Maybe it's the stadium. Maybe it is. Also, Zika virus is still in the news, and fears about it continue to grow. Ground zero for the epidemic is Brazil, home of the next Olympic Games, which are now just 6 months away. One prominent athlete voicing concerns. Here's Lena Zach from ABC reporting from Washington.
U.S. soccer star Hope Solo now telling Sports Illustrated that given the threat of the Zika virus, she would skip the Olympic Games if forced to make the choice today, saying she, quote, would never take the risk of having an unhealthy child. Health authorities say there is no evidence that the Zika virus could affect future pregnancies, though the babies of currently pregnant women are at risk of microcephaly, a birth defect associated with small heads and abnormal brain development. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
I don't know if any gold medal it'd be worth the risk. I mean, you just don't. So they didn't even know that it could be transmitted sexually until they get the report from Dallas where it happened.
Right. But the other issue is what's to stop those mosquitoes from traveling north anyways?
Well, eventually. I mean, it's very warm in the climates. Man, we'll see.
Crazy story.
That's down in Brazil, kind of not ground zero for this Zika virus, but it is one of the main places that everybody's looking at because of the Olympics. We have got some high climbers heading to the postseason. Girls basketball on Thursday versus Auburn Mountain View at 7. Friday, boys diving at Auburn High School, boys swimming at Hazen High School, and girls wrestling on Friday at Yelm. Saturday, boys wrestling in the regionals at North Thurston, and the dance team is going to be part of the Capital Invite at Capital High School also on Saturday. Good luck to all the high climbers who are moving on into the postseason. 8:12 now. Here's Carol with the weather.
Good morning. It's 42. Today it'll be mostly cloudy with periods of rain, high of 52. The rest of the week looks like rain, highs staying in the low 50s, and right now it's 42.
It's 8:12 at iFIBER ONE Newsradio. We will take a quick break here, and when we come back, some news of note around the Northwest. There is a scammer in Seattle that may be targeting nonprofits. This has just come across the wire. And then a text message from a Pierce County prosecutor is public record.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
iFIBER Communications, the fastest internet provider in Washington State, has just opened their doors here in Mason County and got their first local customers signed up. James, tell me about your experience.
From the first time I learned of iFIBER to the day I got hooked up, even now, I felt that my fiber connection and the service given to me have been the number one most important job to every member of the iFIBER team. And not just because I was first in line with my nose pressed up to the glass waiting for a company to take my money.
What differences have you noticed?
I get what I pay for. With non-fiber solutions, you're paying up to the top and never get a constant number anywhere near that top. With fiber, you certainly do. With iFIBER, you get it at a competitive and affordable price.
Why should others sign up for iFIBER Internet?
Well, iFIBER has made a commitment to Mason County. They're working hard to bring fast speeds to everyone at an affordable price. And now with phones and television, your bill will be all in one place with no hidden fees or sudden price changes to surprise you month to month like other all-in-one service providers.
Get signed up for iFIBER Communications today by calling 360-427-4000 or visit iFIBER.tv for more information.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Well, good morning to you. It's 8:15 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Jeff.
So today's Wednesday. It's the 10th. There was some elections that happened, and quickly a lot of the schools' pet levies did pass. However, there's a few that are not currently. Tenino and both Yelm Community School positions. In addition to that, the McCleary levy is under the 60% threshold, and Hood Canal is at 59.79%. If I did the math there, it was a 4-vote. There are still votes to be counted, to be sure. So let's say that. But if the numbers held firm right now, it would just 4 votes to put it over that 60% threshold. That's tough. I mean, people work so hard to get these things passed. We saw it with Pioneer. Pioneer's having a groundbreaking ceremony next week. They've been waiting almost 10 years for a levy. Seattle police say a scammer may be targeting non-profits after the suspect was able to con almost $10,000 from an organization that helps hearing-impaired children. The reports are that the scammer contacted the Seattle Hearing, Speech, and Deafness Center offering a $30,000 donation. But when the organization got the check, it was for almost $40,000. Now, over email, the thief said that the additional money had been earmarked for a different charity and asked that the group wire the difference back to them. Officials obliged only to find that the original check was a fake, leaving the organization out of pocket for more than $9,000. Seattle police believe that other nonprofit groups have been targeted in similar scams in Washington and Oregon. And this is just like the emails that people get into their email boxes. Oh man, I'm going to give you $1 billion. I'm going to make it for $1 billion too.
Or I have this money, but I need somewhere to put it. If you send me your account information, I can deposit it into your account and meet you in, the States in a few days.
So are citizens becoming aware of this scam, so it's not working as much? And so now a nonprofit hears the news that they want to get a check for $30,000. Do they have kind of rose-tinted glasses on, thinking that this is all legit, or are they assuming?
Well, who's detected nonprofits before? I mean, it's like you think you're exempt from from criminal activity. Right. I mean, you think people have some
sort of moral.
Yeah, some sort of morals, and obviously they do not.
I mean, this is a sad story that have to pay almost $10,000. So be advised, if anything sounds too good to be true,
it probably is. Unfortunately,
then it probably is.
A Thurston County judge says a text message, once again, technology takes the day, written by Pierce County prosecutor Mark Lindquist is a public record, despite his claims to the contrary. The News Tribune reports Superior Court Judge Gary Tabor made his ruling on Tuesday in a case filed by Sheriff's Deputy Glenda Nissen. She has sought access to the record for more than 4 years. Nissen had believed Lindquist retaliated against her for political criticism. The judge's ruling exposes the county to potential fines for withholding the record. Taxpayers have paid $325,000 to outside attorneys defending Lindquist's position. A related request by Nissen seeks a slightly larger batch of text messages from the same period. When asked to comment, Lindquist says, "We can have open government and still respect constitutional privacy rights." Nissen's lawyer called the ruling an important decision that protects the people of Pierce County.
Well, backers of a recall petition to remove prosecutor Mark Lindquist from office say they are not going to have the necessary signatures required to bring the proposal to the ballot. Reports are the group admitted defeat yesterday, 2 weeks before a deadline to submit 38,000 signatures. Campaign President Cheryl Iceberg says only about a third of the required signatures were collected. The campaign fell short because they couldn't raise enough money for the signature drive, which began last fall. Lindquist said in an email that the overwhelming majority of county residents support the prosecutor's office. The recall petition was based on the charge that Lindquist abused his authority by engaging in vindictive prosecution in a sex abuse case, and Iceberg says backers plan to file another recall petition. So another story, those two stories that we just told you are not similar. I mean, they're not the same. It's the same person.
Right.
But it's two different troubles that he's going through right now.
Well, I think the trouble is because of his behavior in the past. So that's why they want to get his text messages out in the open. And, if you use a phone that is used for government purposes, like an email server,
like
whatever.
Clinton's email servers.
Yeah, then, and if you have a work phone from work, your employer owns your phone.
Sure, and all the stuff on there.
And everything on it. It's same as anything you do on the internet. It's all their information. You don't have privacy at all.
Yeah.
It's not yours. It's interesting.
State officials, speaking of privacy, say a data breach has affected about 91,000 Washingtonians who are Medicaid clients. 2 state employees have been fired for improperly handing personal information to people enrolled in Apple Health. It was socials, date of births, the client ID numbers, and additional health information. An employee forwarded a spreadsheet with this information to another employee looking for some technical help. And then during a whistleblower investigation into misuse of state resources, the breach was discovered. The risk manager for the authority, his name's Steve Dotson, he says they don't believe anything went outside of these 2 individuals, but we've contacted everybody about the breach, and now they've been offered a year of free credit monitoring. 8:20.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
It's the day to celebrate love. Yes, Valentine's Day. Lucky Eagle Casino encourages you to follow your heart and be sure to wish that someone special a happy Valentine's Day. A message that comes from the heart and Lucky Eagle Casino.
A Valentine's poem from Whitney Chevrolet. A friend like you happens once in a blue moon. I wonder what was there that brought us so close so soon. Happy Valentine's Day to you from Whitney's Chevrolet.
Hi, this is Terry Allen with a look at the community calendar on iFIBER One News Radio. Nonprofits post your upcoming events on iFIBER1newsradio.com. The Mason County Senior Activity Center sponsors bingo karaoke at Shelton Pavilion Friday the 26th from 7 to 10. Lots of excitement and humor in this mixture of bingo games and singing. Beverages and snacks. Doors open at 6 p.m. for adults 21 and up. For iFIBER One News Radio, I'm Terry Allen.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
8:22 on a Wednesday morning, and a good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff.
I mean, we could either talk about the plunge again, which was a lot of fun. Check out the video Jeff Chu put together for us on iFIBER1newsradio.com.
Every night in my dreams.
All right, what could go wrong with this story, Carol? What could go wrong?
I don't know what's going on with this.
Australian billionaire Clive Palmer's fully functioning replica of the Titanic. Fully functioning replica of the Titanic, launched in 2018, a couple years after it was initially planned. Spokesman for the tycoon said that the project had merely been delayed and not abandoned. It's called Titanic 2.
Was there an iceberg? I mean,
Well,
why was it delayed?
Luckily,
They didn't have enough
some iceberg in their funding.
safety votes.
So it's going to look virtually identical to the original Belfast luxury liner that sank in April of 1912. But it will have modern improvements, including, I think, the correct amount of life.
Yeah, exactly.
The ship will be 4 meters wider in order to meet today's maritime safety regulation, and the hull will be welded and not riveted, which I think was one of the things that happened when it got hit the iceberg. All the rivets popped out of there. And all the other safety stuff. The new Titanic will have modern evacuation procedures, satellite controls, digital navigation, and radar systems, everything you would expect in a modern day ship. It will have first, second, and third class ticketing, just like the original.
Oh, man.
It'll have 9 floors. It's got 840 cabins, 2,400 passengers, 900 crew. Beautiful Turkish baths. I mean, have you ever seen pictures of the original Titanic?
Yeah.
Not now when it's under the water and it's all rusty, but before on its voyage.
What I would do is get a list of the people that survived and, go as one of them.
Well, what was that lady's name? The unsinkable Mary Brown. She was on the Titanic, and she was on the Lusitania, and she was played by Kathy Bates in...
Mary Brown or Molly Brown?
Which one did I say?
Mary.
I think it's Molly Brown.
Molly Brown,
The unsinkable Molly Brown. She was on both those ships.
So you can, when you go, you can put your name as Molly Brown, and you'll be sure.
Good to go. Turkish baths, swimming pool, gymnasiums. Now the voyage. Let's talk about the voyage. It's not going to be from Southampton to New York, so don't worry about any kind of icebergs. It's going to go from Zhengzhou, China, to Dubai, because the Blue Star Line, which is building this, that's where they're trying to get some money. In the United Arab Emirates. They're looking for business partnerships there. Now, some folks have gone and said that this is a little insensitive.
I don't know about that.
But the majority of response has been pretty positive. And also inquiries of potential passengers. Listen, if this thing's staying away from icebergs, I'll jump on there. Why not?
Yeah, well, so now it's going in shark-infested waters.
What's her name?
But it's warmer.
Rose
waters.
Dawson, was that her name? Rose?
Yes.
She came out recently and said, yeah, Jack and I probably could have survived together. All we would have had to do is take the life preserver and put it underneath the piece of wood, and then we both could have floated on there for a while. So what's her real name? Kate?
Oh, the actress, Kate.
Whoever it is.
Yeah.
Her and Leo were in that movie together. And so she came out a couple weeks ago and said, yeah, you're right. I probably could have shared the space with Jack there, and maybe we both would have survived. Pretty crazy stuff. Gator wasn't on the menu down in Loxahatchee, where often it is in different places. But a gator did make an appearance inside a Wendy's. This is an amazing story. Jupiter, Florida man threw a 3.5-foot-long alligator into a Wendy's drive-thru, according to Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission down there in Florida. Happened back in October, but the suspect just now taken into custody by marshals. Let's see. Fort Worth County officials say the 20-year-old Joshua James, and it doesn't even sound like there was a real big reason for this. He pulls up, makes his order. The server hands him the drink, turns around to get the food or whatever, and in that stretch of time, the guy throws a 3.5-foot-long gator through the drive-thru window. There are pictures of it on the interwebs. I'm sure you can Google Wendy's gator or something. Aggravated assault, unlawful possession and transportation of an alligator. The guy admitted to picking up the gator on the side of Southern Boulevard and bringing it to the fast food restaurant. He says, all right, the judge on the first court appearance says, James, you are not allowed to go to any Wendy's, no animal contact except for your mother's dog, and undergo potential alcohol and drug testing. $6,000. Alligator later released into a nearby canal. Oh, thank goodness we don't have that kind of problem here.
No.
Alligators on the side of the road that you just pick up?
Yeah. That would be sort of a crazy type of thing.
Loxahatchee for you down there in Florida. It is Ash Wednesday. It's 8:28. The morning stock numbers are coming up in a little bit, and there are also the numbers of, we were just talking about the South, another big problem in the South, shark attacks, apparently.
Well, we were sort of talking about that with the new and improved Titanic. Experts say 2015 saw record-setting 98 unprovoked shark attacks worldwide, including 30 in Florida alone. The Florida Museum of Natural History released the numbers Monday. Scientists say the previous record was 688 attacks in 2000. So it's gone up a little bit, almost.
But still, it's only 100 for the whole world.
Yeah.
All right. I would like to know what you're more likely to die from other than sharks, because, people trip and they die.
Exactly.
Shark attacks. Karen Shade from Edward Jones is on the phone at 8:29. Good morning. Oh, hold on. There we go.
From a shark attack.
Nope, there we go. Hello.
Hello.
I had the wrong slide.
Wrong button. Okay, so trip and die from a shark attack?
Well, no, I'm just, because they're saying, everybody's like, oh, watch out, sharks are going to kill you. But only 100 people last year died. People die from all sorts of stuff. Way more than shark attacks.
I wonder how many people die from alligators.
From alligators?
Okay, so I'm a swamp person. I like watching swamp people. So it's back on. So, yeah.
It's the last season, isn't it?
Yeah. So I love that show. So you just wonder.
So that's the show that they used to do, the Axemen and then the Swamp Thinkle, and then they combined the two shows together? Or they still have that Axemen one?
Axemen are separate. And then you have the Appalachian guys who do the ginseng.
Yeah, the ginseng. That's a new show, too, I heard about.
Oh, that's pretty good, too.
Well, there's a lot of those, on the Axemen at least, there's a lot of guys from around here that are on that show. Local stars.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm kind of, totally fun. I mean, I don't ever want to cut an alligator. Thank you very much. I don't think I could shoot it in that quarter size on their head.
Is that where you're supposed to do it?
Yes, it's only one kill spot.
Ugh.
Like, really, how do they do that when it's splashing around, really?
It's always splashing. I've never seen a docile... Hold on. Let me just sit here while so you can shoot me in the face.
Tell me, I'll just sit still for you.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, we're digressing. Okay.
It happens. What's going on with Wall Street?
Okay, well, U.S. stocks are trading higher this morning after comments from the Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen signaled confidence that the economy can withstand gradually tightening despite global growth concerns. And economic news data showed 9.3% increase in mortgage applications for the week after falling 2.6% in the week prior. In earning news, Disney reported first quarter earnings per share above expectations, largely driven by Star Wars' global success at the box office. Bond prices are higher this morning. So far this morning, the S&P 500, the best performing sector is healthcare, where the worst performing sector is utilities. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 30 points at 16,045. The Standard & Poor's 500 index is up 16 points at 1,868. And the NASDAQ Composite Index is up 45 points at 4,314. This morning, volume on the New York Stock Exchange is high, with about 305 million shares being traded, and advancers are outnumbering decliners by roughly 5-2 margin. In the commodity markets, the spot price of gold is up $3.73 to $1,192.87, and the spot price of silver is down a penny to $15.23, and crude oil prices are down 8 cents to $27.86. In the bond markets, the 30-year Treasury yield is currently 2.55%, and the 10-year Treasury yield is 1.73%. Stocks of local interest: Amazon is up $15.75, Costco is up $1.51, Boeing is up 11 cents, Starbucks is up $1.27, and Microsoft is up 62 cents. This is Karen Shade of Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-term financial advice. I'm located at 1051 Southeast State Route 3 in Shelton. And if you'd like additional information, you can contact me at 426-4590, and daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
All right, Karen, thank you much. Have a good one.
You too.
8:33 now, and the latest in local news is on the way, and it's brought to you right now by Fred Holmes Tree Service.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. Motorists can legally drive faster on part of Highland Road, but must now slow down on a North Bay Road section near an Allen marijuana shop and homes. The county commissioners yesterday approved speed limit changes that extends the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit on North Bay Road from East State Route 3 for about a third of a mile. Commissioners Terry Jeffries and Randy Netherland also approved the change, which allows motorists on North Bay Road to drive up to 50 miles per hour for about a mile, then slow down to 40 miles per hour for another mile after that. Tim Sheldon was absent, attending legislative matters in Olympia. The speed increase from 35 to 45 miles per hour applies to the section of West Highland Road from West Cloqualum Road to near West Panhandle Lake Road. Loretta Swanson, Mason County Public Works Technical Services Manager, said the speed limit recommendations were based on public works study and data collection work performed by Public Works and staff and traffic engineer Dave Smith. The staff recommendation to increase the speed limit on the Highland was based on a traffic and engineering study. The Natural Resource Conservation Service says Washington's winter snowpack so far this season is 109% of normal. As of February 1st, the highest above average figure was 146% in the Okanagan River Basin in north central Washington. The most recent National Weather Service 3-month outlook is for above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. However, short-term forecasts call for continued snow in the mountains and rain in the valleys. State Department of Corrections Secretary Dan Pacholke, who resigned over the weekend, says he may stay on the job temporarily. He reportedly told members of Governor Jay Inslee's staff that he's willing to stay on while Inslee determines how a successor will be chosen. Senate Republicans plan to present initial findings today relating to their investigation of the early release of thousands of prisoners due to a computer problem. When it comes to renewable energy, Carl Dennison from Mason County Public Utility District 1 told Daybreak that there has been such a good response to the idea of a solar array that they will now likely have to move to a lottery system to award spots. The solar array will help ratepayers offset costs with the renewable resource. Dennison also talked about the possibility of an electric car charging station.
We're working on a electric charging station in Hoodsport, so folks driving 101 can maybe make the loop all the way around. So we're working with the port up there, and hopefully that project will come to fruition and we'll get that up and rolling soon.
Learn more about the solar projects on the Daybreak page at iFiber1newsradio.com. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
At Mason PUD3, we know that time changes all things, like phone numbers, mailing addresses, and email addresses, even names. PUD3 needs your correct account information for emergency contacts and online security. To make this fun, all PUD3 customers who update or confirm their account information by April 27th will have their names placed into a drawing for a free iPad mini. Go to masonpud3.org/account to learn more.
Warriors and Spurs win, and Roy Williams has a scare. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. The wins keep on coming for the Warriors, who now have the best record after 51 games in NBA history.
Curry, harassed by Harden, finds a backdoor cut for Barnes and an open slam.
On KNBR, Golden State won its 10th in a row, beating Houston 123-110 behind Steph Curry's 35. And now they're 47-4. LaMarcus Aldridge, 28 points for the Red Hot Spurs, and Kawhi chipped in.
Kawhi inside the arc now with 6 to shoot. Driving to the baseline, pull-up jumper, good. For Kawhi Leonard, 23 points for Leonard.
On WOAI, San Antonio beat Miami 119-101. Utah with a dramatic overtime win in Dallas.
3 seconds, rolls to his left with 2. Steps back for the win. Got it! The Jazz win in Dallas on a Gordon Hayward game winner.
On KZNS, Jazz win 121-119. College hoops, scary moment during the North Carolina-Boston College game when Coach Roy Williams argued a call, walked to his bench, and then slumped to the floor.
I've had some vertigo attacks over the last 17 or 18 years. This is the first time I've really had one during a game.
Coach Williams said he's alive and okay. The Tar Heels beat Boston College. And top-ranked Villanova rolled past DePaul 86-59. Fifth-ranked Xavier bit the dust in Omaha.
Take away by Martin. Here comes Mo. Mo down the floor. He lays it up and scores. It's a 13-point game.
On 16-20, the zone, and Creighton picks off Xavier 70-56. And big changes to the way NASCAR does business, announcing Tuesday that it's shifting to a franchise-like system. NASCAR Chairman Brian France.
We believe we've made the team owner model more reliable, more stable, more open, and we've done that in a way that preserves a lot of the traditions that are important to NASCAR.
36 licenses will go to 19 owners to compete in Sprint Cup races starting this season, and they'll also cut the fields from 43 to 40 cars. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
8:39 at iFIBER ONE Newsradio. Good morning to you. It is Daybreak. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff.
We have Port of Call coming up in just a few moments, but we're right now focusing on sports, and the Mariners are getting ready to get down to spring training, and Joel Peralta will add another relief arm to the bullpen. Minor league contract for the Mariners with him, 39 years old. He's a righty. About 11 seasons in the major leagues with 6 clubs. Huskies having renewed success this season. They're 4th place in the Pac-12. Good for them. The women's national soccer team was briefed last night on the developing Zika virus crisis in Latin America, day before the start of the CONCACAF Olympic qualification tournament down in Texas. 2016 Olympics scheduled for August 5th through the 21st in Brazil, where the Zika virus is spreading rapidly. We heard earlier from goalkeeper Hope Solo, who also told Sports Illustrated that if the Olympics were held today, she wouldn't go. Zika is suspected of causing a birth defect, and pregnant women are urged to avoid travel to those affected areas. Want to wish an early good luck to Shelton High Climbers as they are moving on into the postseason, and it all kicks off Thursday with girls basketball as the girls take on Auburn Mountain View at 7 in the West Central District's first round of the tournament. Friday we'll have boys diving and boys swimming and girls wrestling happening, and Saturday we'll have boys wrestling at North Thurston and the dance team at Capitol High School. Good luck to everybody participating in postseason competition. 8:40 now, and here's Carol with a look at the weather.
Good morning. It's 42. Today it'll be mostly cloudy with periods of rain, a high of 52. The rest of the week looks like rain, even the weekend, but highs are going to stay in the low 50s, and right now it's 42.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
It's 8:42 at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a good morning to you. We had an election in New Hampshire. It was the first of the nation primary voting, and it was a Trump-Sanders victory there. Locally, election results for school districts. Tenino is not passing. Yelm, both of the Yelms are not passing. And in Mason County, we have a couple others that are not passing as well.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Say, what's for lunch? Breakfast. No, what's for lunch? Oh, yeah, breakfast. Breakfast for lunch? Yep. Then what's for dinner? Breakfast is. I thought you said breakfast was for lunch. Oh, I totally did. But now you're saying breakfast is for dinner. Oh, yeah, I am. So, wait, is lunch for breakfast? No, breakfast is for breakfast. With McDonald's all-day breakfast menu, which includes the Egg McMuffin, hot cakes, and hash browns, anytime is delicious breakfast time. Man, I'm heading to McDonald's. Have a good afternoon. Don't you mean good morning? I do now.
McDonald's all-day breakfast menu varies by location. Introducing McDonald's Signature Crafted Recipes. We're talking bold sandwiches featuring authentic ingredients. What? You know it, like the guacamole made with Haas avocados in the Pico guacamole recipe. Wow. Barbecue sauce made with Vidalia onions in the sweet barbecue bacon recipe. Nice. And bacon with maple seasoning in the maple bacon Dijon recipe. Amazing. Try them on chicken or beef. I want to try them all. It's a new way to enjoy McDonald's. Create your signature crafted sandwich today at participating McDonald's.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
General annoyance. 8:44 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a good morning to you. We're going to be diving deep now into a great conversation with Port of Shelton and the Port of Call. We have Dick Taylor and John Dobson in studio. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
It is a last couple days have been a very nice day today. A bit of a change, but man, you guys out there walking around the port properties and those.
Oh yeah,
it felt like near 70 yesterday.
Well, it was in the 60s, maybe.
In the sun, it was nice. In the shade, it was still quite cool.
Yeah, I know. I had the top down on the convertible.
Yeah, driving around
for 2 days. Yeah, you got to do it when you can. You know,
you really do. Carol was telling us that we always every year we get teased by a couple days in February where it's very nice.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, very cool stuff. What's going on with the port, guys?
Well, I tell you, John's got a whole bunch of pictures here, which are great for radio.
They are great for radio.
So we're going to talk about the marina today.
Okay.
So, and that's what these pictures are.
What's going on with the marina? We've been talking about a kind of a rejuvenation. They're starting to get some more money in, and that's good stuff. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, there's pieces to that. Obviously we talked last time about the reclamation of the bay, the habitat restoration project that's going to go on. I don't know what the total dollar figure is. We're guessing somewhere around $8 million is going to be spent out there, over the next 5 years. And we've got about $2.56 million set aside right now to start. So the engineering will begin. And so there'll be some construction that people will start to see towards the end of this year. But I think the big thing, for our marina tenants is that I think we're finally starting to put together a game plan. It's starting to come into focus what we're going to be doing down there. And, we do have limited funds. If you were to turn around and write the check and ask somebody to come in here and rebuild the marina, you're looking at probably about $3.5 million. And there's no grant money for that, by the way. This is deemed to be a private marina. Okay, because you have mortgage slips that are leased on a monthly basis. So there's no outside money. So this is all taxpayer dollars that has to go into this. So we've got limited funds, and we're going to try to figure it out. And again, part of that has to do with how we're going to rebuild the North Dock that we think we can do ourselves. We took a couple of our good tenants, Dick Schramm and George Daly, both contractors and engineer types, and went down and surveyed just the North Dock. So our staff is going to be starting to replace some of the whalers. That's the wood rails that are on the side. And we think we can stabilize a good portion of that. There's about 76 feet on that North Dock that has to come out completely. It is totally destroyed. In fact, to be blunt, it's held together with what do you call the straps that you see on 18-wheeler trucks, that are holding stuff in place?
Yeah,
tie downs.
The tie downs?
Tie downs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
the wind got it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
But by the end of this year, that will be done. And so that takes care of the North Dock. But then we need to start working. And then I think we mentioned in the past, there is a connection dock of about 114 feet that comes from the pier down to the South Dock. That's already been built. In fact, Dick Schramm did that. Did an absolutely gorgeous job on it, by the way. But the problem is how do we get that in place? Also, how do we then rebuild the entire South Dock? Because there's nothing to be salvaged on that. That whole piece has got to be done. So, but again, thanks to Dick and George, looks like we'll have some engineering drawings. And so we're going to go out to bid, see what it costs to do that, and or do it ourselves. And so, but the real challenge is going to be with our boathouse owners that are down there, and we've asked them to upgrade. And so the question is who upgrades and who does not. So this is where the fun really begins.
Right.
And then you also have to know where they all going to be relocated at. So now we have to have this shuffle around. And of course, now we have our Flupsy owners, and they're going to be shuffled around. And then of course, you have to determine where the power is going to go for that. So, how much power goes where. And so anyway, I don't know what the heck's going on here, but I'm going to kill
busy guy.
I'll sit on it.
Shoot it.
Yeah, shoot it.
So you have a picture. What is this picture that you have? You can hold it up and we can sort of see it on the camera a little
Well,
bit.
this is just kind of this is kind of a rough shot, of what that place looks like down there. And so if you think about that, and then maybe this would be another one. So this is kind of what we hope will end up. The top side of it is an existing view of, again, what I just showed you earlier. But then down below is what we hope the habitat restoration starts to look like. It's an older photograph, an older drawing that Anchor QFA did, or QEA did way back when. But through this northern part up here is where all of the trails will start. So we should be able to create, again, the habitat, but then at the same time have the trails leading from the marina through the grass and then back out underneath the rail, the tracks there, and then on into the city. City has a plan now for the Pear Orchard park and ride. So a bit of a park there that will tie into where we're at. So like I said, over the next 5 years, I think this has got some real potential for the city to.
For the folks on radio, what we're looking at,
it looks really good. They can.
One picture shows what the marina looks like now, the marina area right now, which is a mud flat.
Yeah.
Between the marina and Goldsboro Creek. And the other picture is a picture enhanced with what it should look like after the restoration takes place, with natural grasses, all the wood and stuff gone out of there, all the trash that's in the.
So
tons of material.
Will these pictures be on your website, and we can link to it from our website?
I think we're waiting for the newer drawings to come.
Okay.
Once those engineering drawings are out and we've got a better picture of it. This was conceptual done about 2 years ago.
Okay,
it looks
great.
really, it's really nice. And those pictures that we've seen over the last couple of years, they for sure, they are going to transform the front part of Shelton for sure, as people come in on the boats and stuff.
What we're talking about right now too is, again, from this particular photograph where the marina was at, when you come down on Front Street and you swing down and walk down that, of course, this is the roundhouse. And this is the other piece that people are starting to talk about a little bit. Simpson still owns that. Sierra Pacific didn't pick that up. So what could we do with the roundhouse as an attraction from a tourist
We as a community.
Roundhouse restaurant?
A roundhouse restaurant. I don't know. I would doubt that, but I can sure see an opportunity. There's a lot of train buffs around the world that love to look at this kind of stuff.
Is it a big building?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
We may have to go over there and check it out.
I think it's worthwhile. I mean, one of the ideas that's being floated is maybe the Historical Society could use a portion of that.
Yeah.
The question really comes back to what's the storyline? What is it? What's our history? And be able to tell that in not just in picture, but in artifacts.
Right.
Not just have a room full of artifacts, but artifacts that tell our history. So we think that might have some possibilities. The question will be, how do we get across the tracks to get to it? It's obviously a military line that comes along that. You've got Sierra Pacific will be using it. So somewhere you're going to have to create a ramp that goes up, and it has to be handicap accessible, et cetera. So, but we think that might also help to tie in. So I'm looking at Front Street thinking that's got some pretty good possibilities for development.
That would be very nice.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
So when I look at the pictures, there are certain aspects of the area now that will remain. It looks like on some of the longer, the spur line there, it looks like in the picture. So those will kind of also still be there as an homage to what was there at one point. You can't rip out
some of it's still in use.
They'll be using it.
Oh, like spur. Okay.
Sierra Pacific is still going to be railing product in and out of here. I mean, that's a foregone conclusion. Yeah. So
the tracks that go out to Old Mill 5 are not going to be used.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell at this point.
I mean, there was some conversation. I mean, one individual is floating the idea of doing a dinner train kind of thing, but in terms of the economics of that, I mean, it sounds great, but I don't think the economics are there to support that. So, in fact, I think they're still auctioning off all of that equipment. I think that comes up sometime this month, if I remember correctly. So the only thing about at Mill 5 is the old asphalt. So not much there to see.
Well, I like those pictures. It makes definitely puts a good spotlight in the next couple of years here.
The next 5 years from now, we'll all look back and I think we're all going to be real proud of what we have downtown. Having a new mill site, I know Sierra Pacific is looking at not just the mechanics, they're looking at the aesthetics of all of this. They've changed the dynamics about how they're going to approach getting onto the mill site, and so that's going to come in more by Tozier's, not down Main Street, et cetera. So I think there's lots of possibilities for us to as a community, really start looking at what we want this to, again, never give up the history.
Right.
We know where we came from. You always want to respect that, but at the same time, I think there's a future out here that looks a little brighter than what we've seen in the past.
I like it. Let's leave it with that. Port of Call Wednesdays at this time with Dick Taylor and John Dobson as we surface on out of here for this Wednesday. We will be right back after a word from the Old Farmer's Almanac.
Listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Local customs are part of the fun of Fat Tuesday celebrations. We'll tell you how they do it in Kansas today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Tuesday, February 9th, the 40th day of the year. Actor Joe Pesci has a birthday, and the day celebrated the world over is Shrove Tuesday, Mardi Gras, or Fat Tuesday. But in liberal Kansas, today is always Pancake Day. For 65 years on Pancake Day, the women of Liberal have donned a scarf and apron and raced through the streets while flipping a hot cake in a skillet. It's a friendly competition with their sister town of Olney, England, where it's been a tradition for 500 years. According to legend, it began with a woman who raced to church with skillet in hand, desperate to use the last of her cooking fats before the beginning of Lent. You might say she raced right into proverbial pancake history. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. You can learn more about this day in history at almanac.com.
Here at iFIBER ONE Newsradio, and a good morning to you. Jeff Lakey and Carol Gardner putting the wraps on a Wednesday here. Dale's in tomorrow for the next couple of days. Carol and Dale on the big show. We have, what were we talking about earlier? Oh, this shark attacks. There's like 100 shark attacks. And
probably won't find them down at the marina.
I'd probably no shark attacks down there. I'll tell you that much. But Jaws comes out, and everybody is so upset with the shark, and all the sharks is so terrible.
Well, did you ever go swimming after you saw Jaws?
You kidding me? I'm getting in the water after seeing Jaws? There's sharks in the water. They eat you.
Have you ever gotten a little fish nibble on your toes?
Yes, I have, and that is why I am not a fan of lake
swimming. Yeah,
open water swimming.
Your toes.
Ooh, just thinking about it gives me the heebie-jeebies. So everybody's talking about these sharks, and oh my gosh, we got to watch out for sharks, and they're killing everybody. But there's a lot of other things in life, and it's people die every day, so we can talk about this.
Yeah, and
but 98 people died from shark attacks worldwide last year.
Right. That's what we got. But how about this? Falling coconuts.
So I'm in a place where I'm busy scouting out. I'm looking for the sharks.
Right.
I'm standing under a tree getting some shade as I look for the sharks, and the next thing I know, I get knocked on the head by a coconut.
Yeah.
How many people die from coconuts?
They say about 150 a year die from coconuts.
Okay. I'll buy that.
All right. And so speaking of the Zika virus.
Oh, yeah.
Though that does not kill you, about 800,000 people do die every year from malaria-carrying mosquitoes. That's a lot.
Still a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
What year is it?
And so you are celebrating that you didn't get killed by a shark or a falling coconut, so you're having some champagne.
Boop, pop the champagne cork.
About 24 people each year die from a cork.
Just the cork?
Yeah, just the cork. So let's say you make it through all the celebration, you're walking outside, and you trip. How many? 6,000 people die from tripping and falling.
So there's just not the same awareness given to this kind of stuff.
Well, it's more sensational to be ripped apart by a shark versus tripping.
Yes, you're right.
Like an airplane crash is more sensational than people that get killed in cars every year.
Sure, and smoking and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's just so like in your face, crazy and so foreign, to most people. I mean, the one that I don't actually like it, but I think it's highly interesting is vending machines.
Okay.
So there's not that many vending machines anymore.
You don't see them as much.
No. So back in like 78 to 95, where they could actually get some stats on this, which it's very hard to come by, 24 people died, or 37 people died, I guess, from 78 to 95. So about a little over 2 deaths a year.
That'd be me. I put in my 50 cents for my barbecue tater skins, like I used to get in middle school.
Right.
50 cents. It comes
Barbecued
out,
potato skins?
Well, I don't know what it was. Tater skins. They were sour cream or babykin. Yeah, tough one. So then it comes out, the wheels spin, and it stops.
Yeah.
So what do? You shake it a little. You try to stick your hand up there to do something. I don't know what your hand will do up there.
If you can reach that far.
And then it gets stuck. And then you start to shake it a little more. Yeah. And then you panic.
And personal experience?
And then the next thing you know, no, but I've seen it on movies. I mean, this is how it plays out in the movies. And then you panic, and then the next thing you know, this thing's on top of you, and you still don't even have your potato skins.
Right. Not to make light of anybody that has died with that. But yeah, don't mess around with those vending machines, and be wary of sharks.
Sharks are out there. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. It's Thursday. Carol will be back tomorrow, and Dale will be on the air with you guys at 6 o'clock. Tom Hartman's coming up next.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.